Tynan Lawrence, the first-line center, the BU commit, has been held up the score sheet in the last 2 games, but in my opinion, he's the most skilled player between these 2 teams, and then it all comes down to their captain, number 20, David Klee, the North Dakota commit, the Sharks prospect, needs to set the tone for Muskegon physically tonight. We saw the Lumberjacks get unraveled in Game 1 in this building, and they can't get rattled in a Game 5 winner-take-all situation. So he has to set the tone for them tonight.
Now, when it comes to the Waterloo Black Hawks, obviously home ice is an advantage in this building. Waterloo has played very well here. Muskegon has done well on the road, but this is going to be a little bit different environment, a cauldron of sound tonight.
Well, the home team feeds off this crowd for sure, and Brendan McMorrow is one of those guys. The Denver commit is probably the fastest north-south skater between these 2 teams. He's got that second gear, and when he kicks it in, it makes him really difficult to defend. And then number 25, Hunter Ramos, who's committed to Lake Superior State, is another guy that can fly up and down the ice, but he's much more impactful than what the stat sheet might say. He creates plays for his line mates, makes space, and throws the body as well. And then the last guy we're looking at, number 91, Chase Jate, committed to Wisconsin, had the overtime winner in Game 4, which set up this winner-take-all Game 5. He is a hockey IQ guy. He knows exactly where his line mates are going to be at all times, and he makes up for that 5'9" frame with his physicality.
Well, the Waterloo Black Hawks won Game 1 in this building 8-5. Muskegon responded with a 4-1 win in Game 2. The series went to Trinity Health Arena in Muskegon for Games 3 and 4, both of which went to overtime. Muskegon won Game number 3, 2-1 in double overtime. The Black Hawks responded with a Game 4 win, 3-2 in a dramatic finish. Let's go to ice level now for one of the great traditions here at Young Arena.
And to remember Bob Stabenow, longtime season ticket holder and Booster Club member who passed away last week. Thank you. Joining us tonight, we have Staff Sergeant Shane Britton. Shane served 14 years in the Army and is an Afghanistan veteran. Shane is now a recruiter in Cedar Falls, Iowa. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing, remove your hats, and sing along as Pamela Ryan performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Come on. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Young Arena in Waterloo, Iowa is one of the loudest buildings you are likely to ever see a hockey game in. It's loud right now, and the odds are it will get louder as tonight's game goes on. It's the 5th and deciding game of the Clark Cup Final. With Daily Faceoff host Johnny Lazarus, I'm Tim Harwood. Good evening and welcome. It's been a series with something for everyone, and the 2 goaltenders have really stood out.
Well, Shika Godzev in Game 2 was the difference maker in this series when Waterloo looked like they could take a commanding 2-0 series lead after he was pulled in Game 1. He really made a strong bounce back game only let up 1 goal and allowed Muskegon to get themselves back into the series. And tonight he has to tune this crowd, this loud, loud, loud crowd, out of it and focus on making that first save and getting into the game. And then Carter Casey, what else can you say about this kid? He's come in and made a huge name for himself. He's so poised in that blue paint. It's very hard to rattle him, and tonight he's going to have to fight through a ton of screens because Muskegon has a lot of big bodies that are going to try to take his eyes away.
Carter Casey's first game as a Waterloo Black Hawk was in relief on April the 4th after he had played high school hockey at Grand Rapids High School in Minnesota, and he has played the entire postseason. He should set a Tier 1 USHL record for most minutes played in one playoff in the first period of this game. Ready for the opening face-off as we get underway. The draw controlled by the Lumberjacks, who are in a mostly white sweater. The puck rolled across the Black Hawk line. Waterloo in the dark jerseys. Michael Phelan flips the puck up the wall, and Hunter Ramos able to sweep it out to center. Chased down back at the Muskegon end of the ice. Veo in for McLaughlin. A redirection to the Black Hawk line by Galanic, and the Hawks chop it right back out to center. Here's Ramos into the offensive zone, taking on a couple of defenders. Could not split them, and the puck comes free. Tynan Lawrence, who you referred to earlier as one of the top players for Muskegon, dumps it in. Reed Morick, the Black Hawk captain, gets it back. Lawrence puts on some pressure, but Teddy Mulgrave able to clear it. Now Ramos turns, lifts it off the glass. It bounces across the Muskegon line, corralled by Ivan Rabkin. Got turned around. He's one of the top NHL draft prospects in this game. Backhands the puck out to center. Glove down by Mulgrave. Fed ahead, but no further than the Muskegon line as Bauer Berry, Edmonton Oilers draft pick, sent the other way. Hawks dump it in. Berry retrieves behind his net. A minute gone in the opening period of Game 5. Clearing attempt kept in by Compton, but couldn't put the puck all the way through to the net. Cleared by Clares. And now a dump diagonally into the corner at Casey's right side. Compton, the leading defensive scorer during the regular season and playoffs, brings it back out to neutral ice. 4-on-3 as the rush starts, but Hawks peel off. Compton does get it into the zone. His feed to the high slot did not find his defense mate Nick Bogus. Reed Davatilla on a change will dump it in. It goes clockwise around the wall. Sam Huck couldn't seal the boards. Ryan Whiterabbit chops it back across the Muskegon line. Took a funny hop and came in front. Godziev getting it out of harm's way to Veu, but now a steal by Ty Mason. His shot's blocked. Along the end wall, it's Spitznagel, who had a goal in game number 4. Able to clear it out toward the neutral zone. Dumped from there by Jack Christ behind the Black Hawk net. Casey played it, it's stolen by Stefanik, put it up to Spitznagel for a shot that's blocked by Whiterabbit, and the Hawks clear the line, not out. McLaughlin, long, low shot, pushed aside by Casey with his right pass. Whiterabbit, rink wide for Huck, he'll steer it down deep. More than 2 minutes without a whistle so far in Game 5.
Not many hits thrown yet either. You thought it'd be a physical start for both teams, but they're both playing a skill game right now to start this.
Phelan for Waterloo, banks it to the line, not out. A long drive, that was blocked by Phelan. The try by Luka Radivojevic, who did not play in any of the first 4 games in the series, but is in the lineup for this one. Jake Toll back at his own blue line, circling, crosses the center logo as he dumps it in. Brady Peddle reverses it right back out for Hawkins. Touch pass for Walker. Had a step for a moment, gains the line. Good back checking by the Lumberjacks. Hawkins gets it back, keeps it in for Kasiba in the right corner. And now back to Hawkins, who steers it counterclockwise around the boards. Peddle left half wall. The end boards, Radivojevic let it go by. Hawkins takes it away for Waterloo. Drops it back to Phelan, right point. Put it wide, and Toll made sure it didn't even get to the extended goal line. It's clear.
Phelan was looking to bank the puck off the backboards and see if it would pop in front, but a great play by the Muskegon defenseman there to pick it off and get it out of the zone.
Here's Brady Peddle, gaining a line on left wing. Jete trying to chase it down. He scored the game winner in overtime during Game 4. It's wedged away. And Galanic ran into Ramos. But the puck does make it out to the neutral zone. Nestrasil is knocked down. Here's Morgan Brady for Waterloo with a wrist shot. Knocked down by the netminder Godziev, and the Lumberjacks prevent a second opportunity. Now they look to counter, led by Václav Nestrasil to the Hawks zone for a wrist shot. It was deflected, goes wide. Nick Bogus was in the path of that puck. Jete right of his net for Waterloo, hit hard, but got it up the boards. Galanic checked by Deering, and now it's Ramos up the ice. 3-on-3, becoming 4-on-3. Ramos to the side of the net. Goes behind on the backhand, put it in front. No one there in a black sweater to do anything with that. Fired up the ice by Lawrence to Deputy into the Black Hawk zone. Back for Lawrence, a shot. He scores! Tynan Lawrence, the leading scorer during the USHL Clark Cup playoffs, with the low chance on the setup by Deputy. It squeaked through Carter Casey's pads And at 3:53 of the opening period, the Muskegon Lumberjacks go in front. That is our first stoppage in play, much like game one where the first stoppage was a goal.
Well, Tynan Lawrence is the last guy that you want to leave open, and it starts because Hunter Ramos makes a blind backhanded pass to the middle, thinking that he had Grady Deering trailing for a backdoor tap-in, but he is not in the right position. Then David Deputy with the poise to hold up, allow Tynan Lawrence to gain the zone and leave it for a perfect one-time shot. Carter Casey couldn't squeeze his 5-hole tight enough and just squeaked through.
Well, the teams that scored first in games 1 and 2 in this building did not win games 1 and 2. Here's Teddy Townsend for the Blackhawks to the offensive zone. 9 goals in the playoffs. Trying to drop it back to Reed Morrick. The pass is taken away. Lawrence back to center. Able to steer one down towards the end boards on a couple of hops. It hits the half wall. The Hawks trying to get it cleared back out, but Rapkin was in the way. Now it's Dylan Compton for Waterloo. From behind his net, the Hawk veteran defenseman up the ice to Morrick. Trying to feed one to McMorrow. Got away, and Stefanik feeds Chris, crossing the line for a shot. It was blocked. Lays loose in the slot. Compton got to stick to it, but then couldn't do much with it. Now it's McMorrow coming back out to the neutral zone. 2 against 4. Played it across the line. Huck trying to take it away from Barry. Couldn't, but McMorrow got it back into the corner on left wing. Checked there by Clares. Huck comes to try to dig it out. Stefanik for Muskegon. Almost 5 minutes into the first period. Huck moving along the end wall, but unable to center it. And the Lumberjacks, Stefanik finding Spitznagel in front of the benches. Diagonal dump in into the corner on the right side, but Blackhawks Bogus fires it back up the ice. Huck at the end of the shift will tip it deep. Toll shaking it away from the oncoming Reed Davatilla. Has some help. It's cleared out to center by Van Blaricom. However, Sanderson checked in the neutral zone by Hawkins, so Phelan takes it back. Slings it up ice. Hawkins headed at his feet, turns across the line, nudged back out to center by Sanderson, and Van Blaricom will steer it wide to the Hawk net from neutral ice. 5.5 minutes into the opening period. Mason. Now Stewart for Muskegon. Play is offside. Sanderson was over the line early. And the play stops with 14:27 to go opening period. 1-0 Muskegon.
I'll tell you what, Tim, you'd think the first goal of the game scored by the road team would silence this crowd. I don't sense any nervousness right now from the Blackhawks fans. They are loud for every hit. Every time that the Blackhawks have the puck over the red line, they think something's going to happen. The crowd here, the sold-out crowd, I should say, at Young Arena has been very, very incredible. Even when the players were warming up playing sewer ball, you can hear the fans cheering. So the atmosphere in here is unbelievable, and they are not going to waver no matter what the score is.
And the Blackhawks have had more total fans come out for playoff games this postseason than any other USHL team. The Hawks have played a couple of more than most USHL teams on home ice. Getting through the first round, advancing past the Tri-City Storm, then the Sioux Falls Stampede and Lincoln Stars, and now in this final series against the Muskegon Lumberjacks. Brian Whiterabbit taps it into the offensive end, but it's picked back up by Veo. For McLaughlin, out to the neutral zone and nudged away from Klee. Lifted back to the offensive end by Whiterabbit. Centering one, looking for Kasiba, but it's broken up by Veo in the slot. He had a big goal in game 4 that forced overtime. Meanwhile, it's banked wide of the Hawk net by Nestrasil on an attempt that was deflected. Bogus will jump into the rush. 3-on-3. The defenseman gains the line, lost the puck, got it back, slung it into the slot, but didn't find Deering. Banked back out to center. Ramos with it there. Hawks get back onside. Ramos's pass hits a skate. Bogus collects it in the referee's crease. Sent it deep. 6.5 into the opening period. Big hit by Deering, knocking down Barry, but the puck comes out to center. Nestrasil looking for Lawrence. Dodged Bogus. Went to the ice. Play continues as Morgan Brady played it behind the net. David Deputy the takeaway. Left wing boards hit from behind by Jete. That's going to be the first penalty of the game. And the Lumberjacks to a power play. Not quite 7 minutes into the first period. Already on top, 1-0.
Chase Jete just hits David Deputy right in the numbers as he's trying to turn in the corner, and Deputy actually goes right up to his line mate Ivan Rapkin, telling him to not do anything. We have a power play coming. Don't get the extra and make this even strength right now. But Jete wants to play physical, wants to get the crowd going a bit in his own zone, but you got to hold up in a situation like that. You can't hit a guy in the numbers, and now this dangerous Muskegon power play is going to get a chance to go to work and make it 2-0 possibly here in the first 10 minutes of this game.
Well, before this series started, Muskegon was converting over 41% of their playoff power plays. The Blackhawks were over 31%, but power plays have not been a major factor in this series through the first 4 games. They did contribute to the storyline in game 4, but not really ultimately to the outcome. But this is a big opportunity for Muskegon, not quite 7 minutes in, already on top 1-0.
The power plays have also been few and far between. There haven't been many calls throughout this series, so a chance here for Muskegon. They might not get another one throughout the rest of this game.
Well, the face-off won by McMorrow, and Phelan wastes no time clearing it down the length of the ice using the glass.
And this is a situation too, Tim, sorry, that the PK for Waterloo can actually feed off this kill and get them right back into this game.
Deputy gains the line on right wing into the corner for Lawrence. Below the icing lane centered. Phelan steals. Hawks maybe thinking shorthanded opportunity here. Phelan leads the rush into the offensive zone. Wrist shot. Gadziev kicks it aside. Puck goes to the end boards, then comes out into the slot. Lunging play by Lawrence to prevent Phelan from getting back to it.
A really strong defensive play by Tynan Lawrence, and also on the back check, getting back to make sure it wasn't going to be a 2-on-1. It turned in what could have been a clear-cut 2-on-1 into a 2-on-2 chance, where Phelan was forced to take that shot from the outside.
Well, the Lumberjacks getting aggressive there, trying to catch the Blackhawks in a change. Deputy was offside. This should bring the face-off all the way back to the Muskegon zone with 36 seconds gone on the Lumberjack power play. 12:35 left in the first, 1-0. Muskegon leads Game 5 of the Clark Cup final.
Ivan Rapping just gave a little jab to Morgan Brady as they're going back up the ice for the face-off. So they're trying to rattle each other a little bit right now in between the whistles.
Gadziev looks on to his right. Save percentage at 92 during the postseason. He was rattled in Game 1 and yanked midway through the opening period, but showing no ill effects of that as the series has continued. Hawks win the draw. Huck a shot. It looked like it crossed up Gadziev, but it went off of his glove into his corner at his left, and the puck back out to center. Galanic to the Blackhawk line, just onside, steers through the left circle, now curls toward the wall, drops it back, Vayu, deep slot, and into the right circle, Stefanik. Now to Vayu, it got under his stick and out to the neutral zone, halfway through the Muskegon power play.
You could sense the nervousness of this second unit right now for Muskegon.
Vaslav Nestrasil scored a goal in each of the first 3 games in the series, separated from the puck, but then 2 Blackhawks collide. The Lumberjacks have it back. And it's Galanic to the deep slot. Vayu is shot, fought off by Casey, rebound Stefanik across. Galanic trying to receive it on his offhand. It went off the kick plate, but he recovers the puck with 40 seconds on the power play. Now Nestrasil, extended goal line, chipped it in front. Spitznagel had it knocked away. Mulgrave trying to find it, lifts it up the wall. No one there to seal the boards. It gets out to center.
Muskegon's a little bit too cute right now on the power play. They got to just fire pucks on net and try to crash for rebounds. They're trying to make that perfect little saucer pass. Morgan Brady, number 73 in black, did a great job at laying down, taking away the passing lane, which forced that little saucer pass, and there was just too much on it.
The play stopped with 28 seconds left on the minor to Jete. Will have a center circle face-off with just under 12 left to go in the first period. Muskegon leading Waterloo 1-0 at Young Arena. Game 5 of the USHL Clark Cup final. It is a winner-take-all 5th game. The first one of these in the United States Hockey League since 2017 when the Sioux City Musketeers and Chicago Steel got together. Lawrence, who scored the game's first goal, leaves it for Klee left boards, then to the high slot for returning Deputy. Right circle, Rabkin with it, backing up toward the wall. Surveys his options, backpedals toward the corner, side of the net, and it's Klee there. Didn't have an immediate opportunity. Now it bounces into the crease. Stuff attempt. Deputy never got it away, and Lawrence has to get it back on the left board. Power play time is over, but the Lumberjacks still with possession. Lawrence up the wall for Deputy. Kicks it off the kick plate, then out of the corner, back toward the line. Swept away out to the neutral zone by McMorrow.
That's an excellent kill by the Waterloo Blackhawks, and now their bench has to make that contagious.
Puck hops away from Stewart. He tries to get it back from Bogus, who played keep away. Jete now for Bogus, has a lane, crosses the line, dragging, shooting. Gadziev makes the save, catching it in his midsection. 10:45 left to go, opening period. Muskegon 1, Waterloo 0. This is coverage of Game 5, the USHL Clark Cup final. team's effort in order to get themselves into this Clark Cup final with road wins, including one in Game 2 in this building.
And in Game 2, it was Tynan Lawrence and David Deputy who combined for the first goal in this game that really took it over to tie the series at 1. And those are the last two guys you want to give scoring chances to if you're the Waterloo Black Hawks.
1-0 Lumberjacks, but Muskegon turned away on a power play. Quick chance off a draw for Bradley Walker. Turned aside. Kasiba gets it back for Compton. Then for Hawkins, a drive, and Godziev looked like he didn't know where it was initially, but the Lumberjacks cleared away, not out. Compton moves it across to Bogus, right point. Then to Hawkins, avoiding a stick check, looking for Compton. Back for Bogus. It goes between Bogus and Hawkins down into the Blackhawks zone as the Blackhawks effectively clear it themselves out of the offensive end. Bogus clockwise for Compton, tips it out to center. Dumped back in wide of the Hawk net by Dexheimer. Bogus steers it back to Compton. Then to Hawkins. Chips it past Kasiba's way. Tapped it down to the offensive zone as the Hawks change halfway through the opening period. 1-0 in favor of Muskegon. Now Galanic. Unable to redirect it to the offensive zone. Kasiba trying to turn it quickly the other way and did not find his intended recipient, Townsend. Dexheimer scampers back to his own zone. Barrett Dexheimer banks it to Galanic. 4 assists in the series for him. Headman pass looking for Veyu jumping into the rush. He got a piece of it. That washes out any chance for icing, but the Hawks do take it back and then give it up. Swiped away and now in front. Good save on a chance there for the Lumberjacks. Follow-up try goes wide for Galanic after the initial try by Lawrence. McMorrow shovels it toward the boards and gets a second touch to clear it.
A dangerous chance there again for Tynan Lawrence behind the net, who had a chance to bank it off of Carter Casey. But right now, Waterloo needs to get more pucks on Godziev because he looks like he's fighting off the shots a little bit, at least from distance. Waterloo only with 5 shots so far here in the first 10 minutes and change, but there's been 3 chances, one from Huck that I can think of, that Godziev has had to fight off. Here's another look, though, that last chance. Tynan Lawrence throws it off the far pad of Carter Casey. Then it looks like he actually got collided with by Nestrasil, and then Lawrence tries to just put it in front for Nestrasil to try to poke it home. But a great recovery there by the Waterloo Blackhawks to protect the house.
Just past the midpoint of the opening period. 1-0 Muskegon. The goal from Tynan Lawrence. That was at 3:53 of the first.
Also the only real scoring chance it feels like Muskegon has had.
Off the draw in the Hawks zone. Waterloo controls. Phelan uses the glass to clear it. Barry. Rink wide to his defense mate Clares. Barry once more. Sends it toward the net wide. Casey let it go by. Peddle takes the carom for Waterloo. He's number 86 on the NHL Central scouting final rankings for this summer's draft. Deering got it ahead to Ramos. Spins it into the corner. Out of Deering's reach initially. Chate coming to try to find it. Stefanik poked it away. It's cleared. Should be icing. And it is an icing call as Peddle beat the hard-charging David Deputy.
That was a close one, too. I thought Deputy actually beat out that icing. He's a speedy forward up front, 5'9", 184 pounds, committed to Miami, Ohio. David Deputy has been one of the most impressive players to me in this entire series. Had 2 big goals in Game 2 in this building. Very good at creating opportunities for his line mates. And I actually shared the elevator with him before his pregame meal, and he didn't seem nervous at all for tonight. You can sense it so far in the opening 9 minutes, or 11 minutes, excuse me.
He is a veteran. He played all of last year with the Omaha Lancers and started with Omaha this season. As the faceoff here is controlled by the Lumberjacks and cleared this time, it's not going to go for icing. Compton retrieves. The Vancouver area native got the puck up the ice to Huck for a diagonal dump in. Ty Mason after it there. Lifted it toward the corner, knocked away, and recovered by Lawrence. Lawrence hoists one down toward the Hawks zone, chased by Stewart, curling along the wall, drops it back Lawrence's way. He somehow got possession of that, but not for long, and it's nudged out to neutral ice by Mason with an all-out effort.
What a play by Ty Mason to get that puck out.
Now Rabkin with a pass, deflected, came right to Lawrence. Couldn't get it deep though, cut off by Compton. And for Bogus, back to the center stripe. Sends one hard up the left boards. It goes clockwise around the wall. The Blackhawk captain Reed Morick retrieves it, moved it behind the net, but ran right into Veyu. And then Stewart checked by Townsend, so it gets locked up in the corner at the right of Godziev. Rabkin in the middle of that. 12 and a half into the opening period. Morick couldn't get it back to the line. Taken and cleared by Stewart. No icing here. Phelan will have to retrieve it. The former Blackhawk David Klee chases him. Klee a Sharks draft pick. second year in Muskegon. Phelan gets it back to center. His pass is stolen, and spinning back to the offensive zone, it's Nestrasil on left wing. Drop pass, a drive by Galanic right into the glove of Casey with 7:17 to play in the first.
The nervousness is showing on both sides a little bit. In that case, it was Waterloo, where both teams have bobbled the puck in the neutral zone instead of just dumping it deep and getting on the forecheck, which Waterloo has done a much better job at here in the last 5 minutes. To me, that's where this Blackhawks team is the most dominant, where they gain the red line, put the pucks in behind Muskegon Lumberjacks defensemen, and then bang bodies and win those 50-50 battles to get the puck back, and then they get to work. Waterloo has to do a better job of getting on their toes and getting on their forecheck to gain the momentum back in this game.
Game 5 here at a very loud Young Arena in Waterloo. These two teams met in Muskegon April the 6th. The Blackhawks won that game. Had Muskegon won, they would have finished in a tie for first in the Eastern Conference, and this game would be in Muskegon. Lumberjacks win the draw. Galanic shoots. It's deflected and goes up out of play.
Carter Casey does a great job at fighting through screens. That's one thing that Muskegon has to do tonight. They have so many big forwards that you can think of, like Rabkin, Klee, Galanic, Nestrasil, all these guys. Spitznagel, 6 foot and 6'5". They go all the way up to 6'5". They're going to be around the blue paint trying to rattle him a little bit tonight, but he's done a good job so far at tracking the puck.
After the face-off win, Deering from center put one on net. Sear side now a second chance, and Ramos didn't get all of it. Godziev had to turn it away. It's along the end wall behind him. And scored it away from the Blackhawks Jete, and cleared by Toll. Lumberjacks only advance it as far as the red line with possession before the Hawks recover. And Jete from out of his own zone. Flipped it Deering's way, hopped over his stick. It's Barry for Muskegon. Slinging one ahead for Galanic. Poke check near the Hawk line. Now Muskegon would have been offside. Stefanik did not possess it inside the line. Jete will fly one down toward the left corner. Hits the end wall on one bounce. And Barry begins for Muskegon. Pass clicked away from Stefanik. Ramos countering for Waterloo with Kasiba. Ramos 2 against 3. Tried a shot. It was blocked. He gets it back. Right corner. Hunter Ramos works back toward the line. Leaves the puck for Walker, though. Bradley Walker played last year in El Paso in the North American League. Back to the line. Petal shoots. And that one is smothered by Godziev at the edge of his crease.
I like the idea, though, from Brady Petal, keeping that shot low, trying to get it to the net. Godziev had to fight through it to track it. He even questioned himself, it looked like there for a second, if the puck was between his 5-hole or not. But Nicholas Kasiba goes right to that blue paint, waits for the whistle to blow. What does every coach tell you growing up? You play until the whistle, and that could be the difference in a game like this. Winner take all, you never know what could happen. These games always have some sort of X factor, some sort of wild card where one little thing can change the course of the game, and a bounce like that could be the thing.
Almost 14 minutes into the first period, 1-0 Muskegon. As the draw is pulled back by Deering at the last moment, but swiped by the Lumberjacks. McLaughlin got it first. And now it's Christ crossing into the Hawk zone for a wrist shot. He scores! Jack Christ coming up right wing, put it into the opposite top corner. And the Lumberjacks with a 2-0 lead at 14:03 of the first period.
Wow. That is a shocking goal. Jack Christ comes down the far side, left side of your screen. Looks like he's going to pass, then shoots in stride, goes from right leg to left leg. Kind of tricks Carter Casey because from that position, it doesn't look like he's going to rip a shot. He picks the far side high blocker, but only 2 goals going into this game in the playoffs for Jack Christ, and that's a guy that you look for to step up. He had a big play in game 1 for the first goal of this series and now scores one of the biggest goals of this series. What a shot.
The Blackhawks find themselves in a 2-0 hole with just under 6 minutes left to go in the first period. They're out shooting Muskegon 7-5, but the Lumberjacks have scored on 2 of those 5 chances. As Mulgrave tries to keep this away from Deputy, he does, but it's swiped by Veyu. Turns into the corner on right wing, then back for Rabkin, a shot gloved by Casey with 5:36 to play in the first.
That's a huge save for Carter Casey because he's probably rattled at himself right now for letting up that second one from Jack Christ. That's a goal that he probably has to save, but Rabkin, who's a dangerous goal scorer in a prime scoring position with a chance to make it 3-0, but Carter Casey comes up huge with that glove save, and that's big to get his confidence going again because they need him to make that next save to get themselves back into this game.
Ivan Rabkin, the Russian national, is the highest rated player for the NHL Central Scouting Final rankings leading into this summer's draft. He is number 35 among North American skaters, and nobody on the ice tonight has a better ranking than that.
And he usually scores when he gets those chances.
Out there for the face-off against Reed Davatilla, who won the Clark Cup last year with the Fargo Force. He can make that claim. On the other side for Muskegon, Finn McLaughlin can also make that claim. One of the two of the former teammates is going to win a second Clark Cup with a victory tonight. As the Hawks win the draw, it's fired around the boards by Brady to the line, and it does get out past Radivojevic, and now Mason knocks him down at the Muskegon line. What a good recovery with Lawrence coming back to his own zone. Tyne and Lawrence crosses the Hawk line. Backhands one behind the Waterloo net. Couldn't get back to it with Brady in his path. Bogus trying to return it to Brady. Shuffleboards it ahead to Huck. And then to Bogus with room. Across the center circle into the offensive zone. Had it steered away by Lawrence. Picked up by Deputy. End of a shift, he'll chip it down toward the corner.
Smart play. Get it deep and get off. Get fresh legs out there.
Bogus lifts it out to the neutral zone. Reversed by the Lumberjacks with players getting it first. Now Spitznagel shooting it down to Black Hawk ice. Stewart started this season with the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders. Dropped it off, and it's picked up by Compton. He'll put it toward the net from center, steered aside by... Oh, it's put up and out of play by Godziev, untouched. That's a delay of game penalty on the Muskegon netminder. It was not deflected off another player nor off the glass. It's delay of game. Now, the difference between the USHL and the NHL is that a defenseman, a forward, can do that without penalty, but a goaltender still cannot. It's the old NHL rule, and that is a delay of game minor.
That's a huge bounce for the Waterloo Black Hawks, too. With 4.5 minutes to go in this first period, nothing seemed to be going their way right now, especially offensively. Muskegon has done a great job at collapsing in the middle, but this is just a simple puck dumped in. Godziev goes to rim it around the boards, just puts a little bit too much English on it and goes right above the glass. And now the Blackhawks have a huge chance to give themselves some confidence back. If your power play, even if it doesn't score, if you get a chance, you get two chances, the crowd gets back into it. Right now, there wasn't any nervousness in the crowd energy, but you can feel it a little bit right now that this power play is crucial.
The Hawks are 2 for 10 in the series during the USHL Clark Cup playoffs as a whole, 27.7%. Deering wins the draw. Townsend kicks to his stick at the right point. Then outside the circle for Caden Hawkins. To the deep slot, Compton, back to Townsend. Shooting, block, loose puck. Compton just able to keep it in, but now Nestrasil able to clear.
Looked like a set play off the draw, too. Compton trying to get Townsend walking downhill to rip that shot, but Nestrasil with a good read.
Townsend couldn't keep it in. Lawrence the takeaway. Taking time, and Lawrence will wing it wide of the Blackhawk net. Stefanik trying to tie it up in the corner. 3 Blackhawks surrounding, and it's Brendan McMorrow who takes it away. Former National Team Development Program forward. McMorrow to the offensive zone as the Lumberjacks fell down, but it worked out because Dexheimer was just in the right spot to take the puck and clear it once again.
Just a little bit too much there for Brendan McMorrow. One thing that Waterloo can't do is try to make plays individually.
Hawkins could not escape from Nestrasil. It's cleared. And Easton Houston, who scored a power play goal in Game 4 for Waterloo. Out there now, his pass is broken up. Now Nestrasil thinking shorthanded chance. Comes to the corner on the right wing side, separated from the puck by Houston. The Hawks with under a minute left on the power play. Reed Morick, 5 points in the series, gives it to Ramos outside the left circle. Dips below the icing line, drops it back. It was deflected, didn't find Chate, but Houston keeps it in. Moving to the boards on the right side. Houston back to Ramos. Comes to the high slot, then back for Houston. Put a shot toward the net, in and out of the glove of Godziev, but the Lumberjacks' Dexheimer clears it.
I think Houston got a little bit nervous there with the crowd saying, shoot it, shoot it, shoot it. Just wanted to fire it on net.
Ramos turns. Final trip to the offensive zone, this power play. Compton a wrist shot, tip, save, rebound. Davatilla fires. Godziev looked like he may have gotten a piece of that. Compton reloads at the left point, sends it across. Mulgrave, a one-timer, deflected just wide off of a defender. And the puck cleared around the glass. That'll do it for this first Blackhawk power play. 2-0 Muskegon with 2.5 left to go in the opening period. Rimmed back into the offensive end. McLaughlin checks, and the Hawks. Huck now has the handle. Looking for Walker. Nudged it behind the net for Mason. Walker there too. McLaughlin, though, comes away with it for Rabkin. Flies it out to the neutral zone. It bounds down to Blackhawks ice, and no icing here as Casey has to sweep it aside. 2 minutes left to go in the first period. 2-0 Lumberjacks. Huck avoids Rabkin. Now accelerates to the offensive zone, gives it to Mason, shooting. And that one didn't make it through traffic cleanly, deflecting up and out.
I'm not sure what that hit, but Sam Huck trying to make a play using his speed, getting it to the middle and kicking it out wide for Ty Mason to throw a puck on net. We saw Ty Mason score from a similar spot in game one. It was the first goal of the series for the Waterloo Black Hawks. And right now, if you're Waterloo, all you got to do is just fire pucks on net and see what can happen. They haven't had many grade A scoring chances. They need to get traffic in front of Gadziev because right now, life on Gadziev is way too easy.
For the postseason, he's stopped almost 94% of the shots that he's faced, although that percentage is slightly lower in this series. Just under 2 to go, opening period. 2-0, the Muskegon Lumberjacks have the edge. Face-off pulled away from Morick by Galanick. Cleared to the line, not up. Petal kept it in. Pops up and comes down. Galanick scoots behind his net, banking it to Clares. And he was running out of time. Hawks take it away. McMorrow fires right into Gadziev's glove.
That's exactly what the Blackhawks need to do, though. Reed Morick and Brendan McMorrow and Teddy Townsend with a great job on the forecheck. They force the puck along the wall. They win it back. They get it to the slot, or actually at the far dot, for Brendan McMorrow to rip a shot on net. Gadziev saw it the whole way, but that's the Waterloo Blackhawks game to the T. Win a battle on the boards, get it to the middle, get a scoring chance.
Late in the period, Deering, Ramos, and Jete come to the ice for Waterloo. Christ with the second Muskegon goal in this game out there for the Lumberjacks, along with Spitznagel and Stewart. Deering will take the face-off. He's an Iowa native from the Des Moines area and committed to the University of Wisconsin. And he'll see Drew Stewart in his future. Stewart committed to Notre Dame. They see each other right now across the dot. And Deering wins the faceoff. Ramos trying to make his way to the slot. Lost the puck, and the Lumberjacks move it out 2 against 2 with Christ crossing into the Hawk zone for Spitznagel. He juggles and couldn't get a chance away, but did get the puck back for Stewart. Ran right into Phelan. And it's dug out, and Jete trying to shield it. Knocked down, couldn't get out to center. Stewart centers one. Christ had it hop up over the blade of his stick. Still 3. Phelan gets it out of harm's way, looking to get it to Ramos, but Barry kept it in for Christ. Just over a minute left to go in the opening period. Lumberjacks starting a change with the puck coming out in front of the Blackhawk net. But a Hawks 3 pass there with no one in an attacking position. Jete back to the offensive zone, shovels it toward the left wing corner. Deering got turned around by Vayu, and now it's Nestrasil for the Lumberjacks. Vaslav Nestrasil given a lane on right wing. Played it to Lawrence, firing, fought off by Casey on his blocker side. Deering for Mulgrave. Scored 9 goals during the regular season. The big defenseman lumbers into the right wing corner. Centered one. It didn't get out in front. Dabatilla chases it down on the opposite wall. Spun it toward the left wing circle. Huck nudging it toward the goal. It's smothered by Gadziev.
Reed Dabatilla gave Gadziev a little snow shower too right there after he smothered it up. But right now, what the Blackhawks are doing a little bit too much of, they're beating the defenseman from Muskegon wide, but then they're just throwing the puck blindly to the middle, and the Lumberjacks are recovering, and they're there to pick it off and go the other way. I've seen 2 or 3 chances where Waterloo has just done that, thinking they have a trailer going to the back post for a tap-in, but the player is just not there. So you need the Blackhawks to either do a shoulder check or just try to do a cutback and create space for themselves to set up the offense instead of turning the puck over.
Final half minute of the opening period. 2-0 Muskegon on goals by Lawrence and Christ as the Lumberjacks win the draw. It's cleared. Compton gathers the rolling puck. Played it back ahead to Hawkins. 21 goals for him in the regular season. Dumped it in. Went off the glove of McLaughlin then to the end boards. Dabatilla freed it up. Trying to get it to Hawkins. It comes back to Compton. Right point shooting blocked with David Klee in the path of the puck. Klee checked by Deering. Compton holds it in. Moves in. Now shoots. It goes well wide off McLaughlin's block. Final seconds of the period. Deputy's going to tie it up along the end boards. And the horn sounds with the Muskegon Lumberjacks taking a 2-0 lead to the first intermission.
That's as good of a road period as you can get if you're the Muskegon Lumberjacks to go into the first intermission up 2-0 on the road where Waterloo hasn't really had any momentum going offensively, and your goalie, Shika Godziev, looks as confident as can be in the net. This is exactly what you could have drawn up right now if you are Coach Burgess and the Muskegon Lumberjacks.
And Parker Burgess's Lumberjacks looking for one more road win after picking up 5, and that's a big reason why they are here in Game 5 of the Clark Cup Final. A winner-take-all 5th game between the Waterloo Black Hawks and the Muskegon Lumberjacks. First intermission, 2-0 Muskegon, and we'll return with more coverage from Young Arena.
We are in the first intermission of Game 5 of the winner-take-all Clark Cup Final between the Muskegon Lumberjacks and the Waterloo Black Hawks here at Young Arena, where the atmosphere has been incredible for the first 20 minutes, but we are joined now and blessed by the presence of NHL insider, personal friend, Frank Saravalli. It's so awesome to share this experience with you, Frank. What have you made of the first period and just the atmosphere overall of the Clark Cup Final Game 5?
Johnny, it's been electric. Party Town has certainly lived up to the name, and so great to see this in person. I don't care where you are on the planet, whether it's minor hockey, whether it's the Stanley Cup Final Game 7 or Clark Cup Final Game 5, winner take all, just take that and I'm there. Doesn't matter where, I'm going to get there. You'll find me in Waterloo, Iowa.
Well, I know you were also pitched because there is a Culvers in Waterloo, and I know you're a Culvers fan, so I know that was part of it. But down 2-0 right now. There's a lot of talented players on the ice. Tynan Lawrence is one that sticks out, who's committed to Boston University. He scored the first goal this game. I'm curious if there's any guys on the ice right now that you're watching that you could compare to a current NHL player, or someone who's so dialed into the NHL like you are.
Compare to a current NHL player, that's always tough. And you know what? I hate doing that because I think you put these players in a spot where you just set the expectations so high. It's like the classic, you get to draft day and they say, hey, who do you compare yourself to? And it's like, well, what do you want me to say? If I have some traits that are something, let's talk about Macklin Celebrini for a second. USHL alum. He's got some little parts of his game that are like Sidney Crosby, and it's amazing that those two guys are playing together right now in the World Championships. He actually set foot at this tournament and addressed Sidney Crosby as Mr. Crosby. He said, no,
I saw that,
it's just Sid. But you're not going to walk in and say, hey, I've got some facets of my game that are like Sid. There's just not a comparison that you're going to make as a kid. So I wouldn't want to lay that on anyone, but I love looking at bloodlines. I love looking at size. And, you just look here at Bauer Berry, for instance. Bloodlines, Grand Forks, North Dakota. You see the size that he has on blue line. You see that he's been already picked by the Edmonton Oilers, and you look at that and you go, yeah, that tracks. And you can connect the dots. And so when you look at this incredible development league and the job that they do, sending players on to college and then beyond, I think there's no better place on the planet to develop than right here in the USHL.
So I guess I'll stop comparing Tynan Lawrence to Connor McDavid, because maybe that puts a little bit too much pressure on a 16-year-old kid, but
you might just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But Frank, you speak about the growth and development of this league, and for someone who's so familiar with it, dating back years, now being here in person and knowing the future plans of the league, where do you necessarily see the USHL going, let's say in the next 3 to 5 years?
Only up. I mean, I look at this league and the strides that it's taken, and you look at the junior hockey landscape and specifically how college hockey has changed so much this year alone. I look at that and I say, why isn't the USHL playing in the Memorial Cup? Why isn't the winner of this Game 5 taking on the 3 best teams from Canada to make a total grand North American championship? I think that's the next step for junior hockey as a whole, is to be, it's a beyond time for the USHL to be on par with the 3 leagues of major junior hockey in Canada, because that's statistically what we're seeing. We're seeing the USHL churn out the highest number of draft picks year over year. We're seeing #1 overall picks. We're seeing players that are taking their time and doing it the correct way, going to college hockey, where you're getting optimal practice time, optimal balance of games and competition, strong competition. This league isn't watered down like a lot of the Canadian major junior leagues are. So I think the strides that this league has taken as a whole have been massive, which is why I'm in the building tonight, to see something like this with my own eyes, because you can talk about it, you can watch a game, you can talk to other people, scouts that are in the building, but until you see it for yourself and you understand what this is all about, you have to come and experience it.
Well, Frank, I'm going to put some pressure on you, because I know you grew up in the Philly area, and right now there's no USHL team in that area, but there are talks of expansion within the league. Can we see Frank Sarabelli own a USHL team and potentially be a GM someday?
I don't think I have the coin for that, and kudos to the league, because franchise values continue to explode. Honestly, I would love to be involved in any way. That's my honest answer. At any level of the sport. I coach youth hockey. I've coached youth hockey for a while, getting involved in high school hockey. I've obviously been at the NHL level for the last 2 decades. And whatever it is, I'm hooked into it. So I'd love to see continued expansion for the league as a whole, not just in the Midwest area, but also as we push east, because I think that's maybe the one part of it that is being held back from a further larger conversation, is just the footprint as a whole. It's super impressive in this area, and when you continue to grow it, it's only going to be even more so.
I think the USHL is headed in the right direction, that is for sure. And Frank, my last question, I've heard nothing but good things about the donuts at Young Arena. Have you tried them yet?
I have not. I mean, come on. I was already getting tweets from people when I said I was at the game. They said, did you have to buy 2 seats? And I said, whoa, it's sold out
I didn't mean it in that way.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to the donuts yet. But the night is still young, pardon the pun, and we are 2 periods at least to go.
Well, thanks so much. Frank Sarabelli, NHL Insider. Very happy to have him here. Hope you enjoy the rest of the game.
Thanks, Johnny.
With Daily Faceoff host Johnny Lazarus, I'm Tim Harwood. It's Game 5 of the Clark Cup Final at Young Arena as the 2 remaining USHL teams are in action this evening. The Muskegon Lumberjacks lead the Waterloo Black Hawks 2-0. So far this postseason, all 10 Lumberjacks wins have come when they've been leading after 2 periods. They're on top after 1.
It was not an ideal start for the Waterloo Black Hawks as they turned the puck over to the wrong guy on the ice. Tynan Lawrence, the most dangerous player for the Muskegon Lumberjacks, picks off that pass from Ramos, and the Lumberjacks go the other way. David Deputy and Lawrence combined for the game's first goal, which didn't necessarily take the crowd out of it, but Muskegon kept the momentum going right from there. Just a perfect shot from Lawrence, squeaking through the 5-hole of Carter Casey. A dangerous chance to start this game for the road team.
And Tynan Lawrence is the top USHL scorer during this postseason when it comes to total points, adding to that total. Big hit there from Grady Deering.
But Waterloo wasn't physical enough. Grady Deering with a monstrous hit right there in the corner on the forecheck, but Waterloo has to get that going more in the second period. They got to get the pucks behind the Muskegon Lumberjacks defensemen and start to throw the body just a little bit more, because that's where they're most successful, as we see a throwing stop there from Carter Casey in goal, and now you can hear the fans starting to get up for it as the second period is going to start here shortly. But the second goal in this, Jack Christ comes wide off of a face-off win in their own zone. It's a 1-on-2 rush with Stefanik that Christ actually gets on his horse to make it a 2-on-2, and then he shoots the puck in stride, catching Carter Casey by surprise to make it a 2-0 game.
The shots on goal in the opening period favored the Blackhawks 11-8. Both teams went 0 for 1 on the power play. And the specifics of those goals: Tynan Lawrence the first at 3:53, assisted by David Deputy. Then at 14:03, the Lumberjacks made it 2-0 on the goal by Jack Christ, assisted by Chase Stefanik, as well as Finn McLaughlin, who's been very good in this series. He was acquired from the Fargo Force for the type of experience that he brings, having played in games like this one.
And this game is only going to get more and more intense as we're 40 minutes away from awarding a Clark Cup champion. But one shot, Tim, only one shot can change the course of this game. We saw both goals from Muskegon not look like grade A scoring chances, but they just find a way to get into the back of the net. And if you're Waterloo right now, if you're Coach Smaby in the locker room between periods, that's what you're telling your team. Listen, guys, this is it. We got to put pucks on net. You don't know what can happen. If you throw the puck there, sometimes it can take a funny bounce, a rebound, a second opportunity. We have to do a better job at creating chances for ourselves. A lot of it was just one and done for the Waterloo Blackhawks in that first period.
Including tonight, the Blackhawks have had double-digit shots on goal in the first period during 4 out of the 5 games of this series. Sometimes the difficulty, though, has been maintaining that into the later periods when the Lumberjacks have tended to clamp down.
And it also might play in favor to Godziev, who feels the puck a little bit more and gains some confidence as the game progresses.
Back underway, period 2 at Young Arena. Chase Chiche with the puck in the referee's crease, chips it across the line. Ramos pursuing. Veo gets there first. He turns in his own zone. Xavier Veo trying to clear it. Ramos gets a stick to it, but not possession. Galanic recovers and flips it out to center. A lot of minutes for Michael Phelan in the opening period. He gets the puck to Chiche here, but Hawks can't manage possession across the blue line. And McLaughlin has his pass tipped, stolen by Phelan. Now it's Chiche. Dropping it back to his own zone. 40 seconds into the second period. Phelan given room, so he'll carry in and roll it into the right corner. Hawks change. Veu with it for Muskegon. Flies one out to neutral ice. Phelan still out there, bats it down. It was a legal play inside the blue line. Got it to Townsend. And then Brady back up the ice for Townsend again. Turns shy of the line, wings it down into the right corner. It goes counterclockwise around and cleared back out to center by Veu. Knocked down in the neutral zone by Mulgrave. Veu has it back again. Looking for Rabkin, who tips it down deep. Casey out of the net. Steers it backhanded up the wall. Townsend nudges it to McMorrow. Forgot the puck. Rabkin took it back. He tries to turn Lawrence loose. Hawks get a break there as it bounced away from the leading postseason scorer in the USHL. Lawrence retreats, and Claire's in front of the benches.
Both teams bobbling the puck a little bit in the neutral zone here to start the second period.
Morgan Brady fending off a check. Makes his way back out to neutral ice, looking for Morick. It pirouettes down into the Lumberjack zone. And Bauer Berry out to center for Rabkin. Put it hard off the boards in the corner. It sprang past both Bogus and Stefanik. Hawks control it next. Davatilla Trying to accelerate, shoulder to shoulder with Spitznagel. Drove one toward the net as he crossed the line, but it went right off of a shin guard. Now picked up Mason across the slot. Couldn't stick handle around Dexheimer. Got it back courtesy of Huck. He turns and shoots, and that was blocked by Dexheimer. Stung by the chance. Davatilla trying to kick to his stick and could not get control of it. But the Force failed. The Muskegon Lumberjacks failed to clear it. Davatilla for Bogus. Moves in and fires. Missed the net. Compton back for Davatilla. And then to Bogus. Received it on his offhand. Moves to the dot, then back out into the deep slot. Bogus wrist shot. That rising chance was knocked down. Loose near the top of the crease. Huck tracks it down. For Compton outside the left circle. Then to the deep slot. Mason to the boards on the left wing side. Then for Huck in the corner. Good effort by this line for Waterloo. All former Fargo Force players up front in one sense or another. Compton keeps a clearing attempt in. For Mason. Wrist shot blocked. Second chance. Lifted off the side of the net by Huck. Fans thought they'd seen one go in, but that one was off the side of the net. Now Compton put a low chance toward the goal, intercepted and cleared. And the Muskegon Lumberjacks get some relief.
Oh man, what a shift by the Blackhawks. That's going to change the entire course of this game, but a lot of incredible block shots by Muskegon. Barrett Dexheimer putting his body on the line 2 or 3 times to block a shot there. And Waterloo, they got to find a way to get one. Sam Huck had the wide open net, but just put it a couple of inches wide of that cage. But that's something that you can get back to the bench if you are that line of Huck, Davatilla, and Mason, and you can then build off that. The next 3 lines can feel it. The ice starts to tilt in their favor, but man, you just can't get a bounce right now if you're Waterloo. Huck was, from our angle, looked at like a wide open net.
Roughly 40 seconds in the offensive zone there. The Blackhawks only credited with 1 shot on goal. That says something about Muskegon defensively, too.
Oh, yeah, guys were laying out to block shots. It started with Barrett Dexheimer, who took one in the midsection. Then he's battling in front and gets a stick in the lane of the chance from Bogus. Then Teddy Spitznagel slides and blocks one with his stomach and then another one with his feet. I mean, these guys are doing whatever it takes to take home that trophy tonight, and you can see it and you can feel it.
Play stopped when the Hawks tried to bring it in offside. Wedged into the zone by Kasiba, then a clearing attempt hits him. He and McLaughlin cancel each other out. Klee took it, moved it behind the net, just out of the reach of Hawkins, who was reaching. Veyu gave it up. Walker the steal. Trying to get it back to Hawkins. It pops up into the air and comes down along the left half wall. And Walker managed to get it below the icing line before being rubbed off by Veyu. Puck is cleared off the glass. Bounces over pedal stick. He has to chase back. Casey comes out of the net, plays it into the corner. And the Hawks living a little dangerously there in the defensive zone, but now back out to center with Hawkins nanked down, and play continues. McLaughlin had a piece of Hawkins there. Meanwhile, here's Peddle with a one-timer. Drove wide. Morrow scores! Brendan McMorrow with the follow-up opportunity after the initial try by Peddle came back to him off the end boards. And here come the Hawks with a goal by Brendan McMorrow, who had a really quiet series. Just 1 assist in the first 4 games after being Waterloo's leading playoff scorer prior to the Clark Cup final.
The fans actually wanted a penalty because Caden Hawkins was taken down. The fans were up in arms, but Brendan McMorrow gets the puck in a battle in the corner, gets it from low to high, crashes that back post off of the one-timer. Watch right here on the left of your screen, McMorrow win that race to the puck and then go right to the net. The one-timer by Peddle misses, but takes the fortuitous bounce right to McMorrow, who was loaded for that rebound. Huck had a similar chance just a few minutes ago. Wasn't able to put one in, but this time McMorrow makes sure that finds the back of the net. And we got a hockey game here, Tim.
It's the 7th of the postseason for McMorrow, on the move again with a wrist shot. Wide. Came off the inboards. Townsend collects it. Back out into the deep slot. Brady on his offhand initially. Flips one toward the net. Deflected off of Muskegon's stick and off the mark. Players got it to Deputy. Muskegon bringing it out. Deputy leads the rush, crossing the line. Flips one wide of the Black Hawk goal. Give the second assist on that Black Hawk goal to Ryan Whiterabbit, in addition to the primary assist to Peddle. Here's Townsend, up right wing and into the offensive end. A wrist shot, ricochets wide off of a skate, and then Godziev and Spitznagel both go into the Muskegon net, along with the Waterloo Black Hawks' Nick Bogus.
Bogus was just crashing to the net looking for a rebound on the shot off the rush, but him and Spitznagel just get a little bit tied up and go sliding into Giaziev, and the net comes off pretty easily. But Tim, right now, the first 5 minutes of this period, Muskegon is just trying to chip the puck out of their zone, doing the high flies, not really making direct passes, and Waterloo is jamming it right back up offensively with a quick transition, creating offense. I don't know what happened between periods, but Muskegon is fully on their heels right now, and this ice has tilted fully in favor of the home team.
Well, Grady Deering had a big goal in Game 4 at the time. It gave the Hawks a 2-0 lead. Muskegon battled back late, and the Hawks had to win it in overtime. Deering unable to win this faceoff against Lawrence, and the Lumberjacks clear it. Compton, though, bats it back down toward the left corner, and Jake Toll, who started his USHL career in Sioux Falls, gets the puck to Radovojevic. Back for Toll, and up the middle of the rink, it hit Chris, but came right to Stefanik. Now a shot by Spitznagel, turned aside by Casey. Bogus gets tangled up with Spitznagel off the puck initially. Hawks have control. Compton up the middle of the ice for Ramos. Stops in the center circle, backhands it to the left wing corner. Past the 5-minute mark of period 2. Lumberjacks failed to get it out. Knocked down by Ramos, left half wall. And then help arrives from Deering to Jete in the corner. Jete turning away from McLaughlin, but then wrapped up by the big defenseman. Davatilla comes, rims it clockwise around. Phelan pinching up from the right point, kept it deep. Now for Davatilla and boards, bouncing puck. Phelan is down. Compton, meanwhile, has the puck for Waterloo, and play is going to be stopped with Compton down on the ice, and then McLaughlin took exception to Compton shooting the puck at the whistle.
Phelan looked like he got hit uncomfortably against the boards, but then as he was down, he also looked like he got kneed in the back of the head by Xavier Veilleux, which I think kept him down just a little bit longer. Veilleux probably didn't see him in the lane there as he was trying to get back to the net, but just an uncomfortable look there from Mike Phelan, and you hate to see a player down this long, but it just looked like he was rubbed against the wall in a weird way. Couldn't tell if it was a shoulder, midsection, potentially even lower body, but I think the reason why he's down just a little bit longer is because of the knee from Veilleux on his way back to the net, but it's great to see him back on his feet.
The Waterloo Black Hawks trainer Todd Klein out to attend to Michael Phelan. Todd Klein has been the Black Hawks trainer since 1996.
That's when I was born. I don't mean to age you there or anything, but that's a wild stat. Long time.
He is a stalwart, you would say. Faceoff will come out of the Muskegon zone with the play stopped for the injury to Phelan. 14-17 left in the second period. Brendan McMorrow drawing a goal back for the Blackhawks, making it a 2-1 game in Muskegon's favor. After the first period, Lumberjacks scores by Lawrence and Christ.
It all started with this line, though, Tim. Huck, Davatella, and Mason, they got the offense rolling with that offensive zone sustained pressure for about 45 to 50 seconds, and shortly after is when McMorrow scored that goal. So these three look for them to have a huge impact on this next shift.
Mulgrave taps it deep. Barry trying to keep it moving, almost gave it up, but help arrives in the form of Stewart. Drew Stewart for Deputy, redirected it shy of the red line, should be icing, and that is the call.
Muskegon hasn't had one shift in the first 6 minutes of the second period in the offensive zone. They're just throwing pucks out of their own end because they don't want to be forced to defend, but their forwards are not getting north. They're not winning battles. They're not receiving passes. Something has to happen here for the Lumberjacks to get back to their game because it is fully in control of the Waterloo Black Hawks with how they're forechecking, how they're winning battles, how they're getting pucks on net. Muskegon doesn't seem to have an answer in this middle frame.
6 minutes gone in the second. And the face-off controlled by the Lumberjacks with Deputy.
They just keep flipping it out like that, yeah.
Brady wedged it back Walker's way. Slots one wide of the Lumberjack net from well above the left circle. Kasiba after it, canceled out by Barry, and it's cleared by Sanderson, who missed one of the games in this series with a suspension. Hawks trying to dump it back in and gets up out of play.
I don't know where that puck went. I don't even know if the fans know where it is. I don't see anyone reacting. But right now, what we talked about in the first period was the Blackhawks getting on their forecheck. They weren't really able to successfully in the opening frame. Muskegon was doing a good job at using the boards to break the puck out, but now the Lumberjacks feel that pressure, and they're not even looking to complete a pass. They're just doing the high flip, and the Waterloo Blackhawks have done a good job at just making one simple pass and going back on offense.
Muskegon 2, Waterloo 1, not quite midway through this fifth and decisive game in the Clark Cup Final Series. Hawks in the Clark Cup Final for the fifth time in 19 years, just the second trip for the Lumberjacks since they entered the USHL in 2010. Here's a try for Nestrasil, and he had a stick tied up at the last moment. Hawks take it away with Ramos getting back to center, losing the handle just outside of his blue line. Here's Nestrasil once again, drop pass shot by Klee. Casey the save, left a rebound, and Nestrasil had an open side but couldn't control the puck. Hawks failed to clear. Galanic Put it across the face of goal and wide. Klee finds the carom, drops it back. Ring around the boards by Toll. Right side Galanic, checked by Jete, but kept the puck. Galanic, who's behind the Blackhawk net, tried the Michigan play, but it was fought off by Casey at the post to his right.
Trying the Michigan in that situation in a winner-take-all Game 5? Oh, my God. That would have been sick.
Well, Galanic, a Massachusetts recruit, so maybe we'd have to call it the UMass.
Yeah, I'm all for that. That takes confidence, huh?
Puck came to Rabkin in the circle, couldn't get one through traffic, but now it's Vayu. Out to the left point, McLaughlin avoids a shot blocker, but gives up the puck, and here's Ramos. 3-on-2 if he hurries, on right wing, gains the line, Ramos fires, it's deflected, and lands in the right wing corner. Deering gets it back, trying to buy time as the Hawks are changing. He plays it counterclockwise. Townsend is fresh off of a change, looking to get it back to Paddle. Challenged by Rabkin. They work the wall. Morick comes to find it. He wings one wide of the Lumberjack net. In front, McMorrow a chance, and he lifted it up and out of play.
Oh, man. McMorrow had a chance to get his second straight goal to tie this game up. But right before that, Ramos, Deering, and Jete, the second line for the Blackhawks, had a 3-on-2 chance, and they were at the end of a shift. They were gassed, but they felt like they had to make a play. They get a look at the net, and then on comes that top line with speed, with fresh legs. Townsend wins the battle. McMorrow crashes to the net, gets a lucky bounce off the back wall again, but this time just shoots it a little bit too high. I think he got a piece of Gaziev.
Well, he was in really tight.
Yeah, tough play to make. But you feel like they're going to get the next one, right? They are humming right now, the Waterloo Black Hawks.
Almost 8 minutes into the second. As the Lumberjacks control, and Clares just squeezed one past Morick and down the length of the ice, but it was deflected. And Compton will have to come from 200 feet away. Fires it around the boards. Here's Townsend crisscrossing with Morick and gives him the puck. Morick dodges a check, tries a wrist shot. That's off the mark. Bogus, left wing boards. Sharp angled try, knocked down by Gadziev outside the frame of the goal. Some pushing and shoving near the front of the net. Just under 12 minutes left in the second period. It's the Muskegon Lumberjacks 2, the Waterloo Black Hawks 1, but the Hawks have the most recent goal. This is Game 5 of the United States Hockey League Clark Cup Final. A long way to go in this one.
And they're doing the wave to try to get the Blackhawks going. There is a long way to go, Tim, like you just mentioned, but you got to have a feeling right now that Waterloo is about to tie this game up with the amount of chances and the pressure that they're applying on the Muskegon Lumberjacks. It's been the top line. It's been the third line. McMorrow has had so many chances. Him and Townsend have looked great together, and this third line is back out there who got all the momentum going in their direction in this period.
Reed Davatilla played a year and a half in Fargo, unable to win the draw. Ty Mason, who's trying to get the puck, played the first half of this season with the Force, and Sam Huck was with Fargo in the preseason. So it's the Blackhawks Fargo line getting a chance. Davatilla puts it wide. Huck behind the net, wraparound try. Oh, and it was just out of Mason's reach as Nestrasil tries to clear. Davatilla capped it in, left wing boards. Another try by Nestrasil, sails this one out to center, and nearly a 2-on-1 look there for the Lumberjacks, but they wanted to change. Meanwhile, Huck wants to get it back to the offensive zone, pushed it into the offensive end, and Grand Forks native Bauer Berry clears it. Hawks regroup. Peddle chops it across the line. And it goes to the end wall. Berry turned around by Huck. Help arrives, but now Walker keeps a clearing attempt in, dodges a check, moves in and fires, and that one goes up high. Huck one more time for Waterloo. Hawks in the midst of a change. Bogus just to the ice, tries a wrist shot, didn't get anything behind it. Nudged out to the neutral zone by Nestrasil. Huck Blind pass stolen at center, and Galanic wastes a little time. Hawks try to get it up the rink, and Bogus cut off shy of the Muskegon line. Now the Lumberjacks with a look, a rare chance in this period as it comes back to Radivojevic. His shot is blocked. Out to Radivojevic at the right point. Rink wide, Toll, his try. Fought off by Casey with the blocker. Cleared by Walker as the Hawks sent that one up and off the roof. It looked like it off the ceiling at Young Arena. It did get out of play one way or another.
Well, Bradley Walker doing it on both ends with a dangle around Radivojevic. Just misses the net a little bit on the offensive chance. And the other way, he actually blocks a shot too. So Walker, the fourth line center committed to Miami of Ohio, doing it on both ends. He looked like he was going to pull the trigger offensively and just throw it on the net. A little toe drag around Radivojevic, and man, oh man, that would have been a pretty goal to tie this game up.
Yeah, you mentioned Miami. Each team has 2 players committed to the Red Hawks program, where they will play for former United States Hockey League coach Anthony Noreen. For the Muskegon Lumberjacks, that's Shika Godziev and David Deputy. For the Blackhawks, Bradley Walker and Michael Phelan.
That's a program that has a great opportunity to turn things around. They used to be a very strong powerhouse and now in a little bit of a college hockey rebuild, but these players that are out here right now are going to help turn that program around for sure.
Deputy turns through the neutral zone, throws off a check from Townsend. Now buying some time inside the Blackhawk line as reinforcements arrive. Deputy's shot is gloved and held with Lawrence lurking at the edge of the crease.
Carter Casey has not been tested much in this middle period, but the saves he's making, he looks way more poised than he did in the first period. In the first period of a winner-take-all game, the confidence should be there, but sometimes it takes a little bit to get yourself into the game, and right now we're seeing Carter Casey settle into the blue paint and make those routine saves.
Casey, 3 starts, 5 appearances total in the regular season for the Blackhawks, but he's played every game during the Clark Cup playoffs, and now at this point has played more minutes than any USHL goaltender since the United States Hockey League adopted Tier 1 standards ahead of the 2002-03 season. Actually breaking a Tier 1 record set by another former Blackhawk, Stefan Williams, in 2012. Hawks win the draw, and Morik to the red line. Shakes it down into the offensive zone. Godziev juggled it, but Townsend could not get there in time to make anything happen.
That was a little scary. Godziev looked like the puck was going to roll over and potentially go in the back of the net. Good hustle by Teddy Townsend to go right through the middle and stop at that blue paint, because we've talked about it, Tim. You never know when a puck could come loose. Teddy Townsend could have easily gotten that chance to put home a rebound off a lackadaisical dumping, right? It didn't look much. You just throw a little chippy puck on net, see how it bounces off the ice, and go from there. But I'm very impressed with the response by the Waterloo Black Hawks. When you go down 2-0 on home ice in the first period, sometimes you can fold, and the pressure in the moment could be too big. But this group has gained confidence shift after shift after shift, and there's still 10 minutes to go in this middle frame. There's a lot of time for them to keep building on it.
Just shy of the mathematical midpoint of this game so far in the period. The Hawks with 4 shots on goal and the only score. Muskegon limited to just 2 shots on net on the other side of the ice. And the faceoff controlled by Morik. Back to Petal. Low shot missed the net, was tipped. Compton trying to shield the puck and could not get a stick to it. Now it's Lawrence to the Blackhawks, and for a try that goes off of Casey's glove but clears the crossbar. And McMorrow speeds up the ice. 4 against 3. Gains the line. Drop pass. Townsend shooting. Deflected wide. Townsend collects it. A lot of traffic around him, looking for some help from Morik. Pinned to the boards by Barry. Stewart trying to dig it out. Ramos comes to help. Morik trying to move the pile. It comes free. Deering with a shot that was blocked. Compton controls, though, on the wall right side. Fed it toward the front of the net, but it never got there. Knocked down. And comes back to Compton, then Petal shooting. And that one came up and hit Godziev, who lunges and covers. No, he didn't get on top of it, with Morik chopping at it down on the ice. Hawks reload. Petal, side of the net. Morik put one toward the goal, but that was blocked by Barry. And the puck to the slot with Lawrence, taking it, rolling it to the line, and advancing it as far as the center stripe so that the Lumberjacks can get a change.
What a play by Tynan Lawrence, though, to use his legs there and gain the red and get it deep. But the fans were screaming because Shika Godziev actually lost his footing in the blue paint and went down. They wanted the Blackhawks to pull the trigger in what could have been a potential empty net, but Waterloo wasn't able to get it on net.
Spitznagel the takeaway in the shot, but a backhanded glove saved by Casey with 8:46 left in the second period. Muskegon still leading 2-1, but now a 17-11 shots on goal edge.
Some more looks there at the captain, Reed Moore, getting a couple whacks at that loose puck in front of Gadziev. Great cycle from low to high, and there you see in the middle of your screen, Gadziev go down, and the fans screaming at Moore to shoot it, but it gets blocked. And on the flip side, Waterloo has done such a great job defensively at holding the middle every shot that Muskegon has had in this middle frame, and they haven't been many, but they've all come from the outside, and Carter Casey has gloved them down with ease.
Under 9 to go, second period. 2-1 Muskegon.
This is fun, huh?
Just as it should be. Game 5 in the Clark Cup final. Lumberjacks win a draw. McLaughlin put one wide. Came out in front for a moment. Hawks get it back now. Phelan. Good to see him back out there after he was shaken up in a recent shift. Got it to Deering for a dump in. It bounces behind the Lumberjack net. Jate got a piece of it so that Deering can swoop in and find the handle. Comes out top of the left circle. Across the slot. Wrist shot. Gadziev, the glove save, sliding to his left.
I love that play from Grady Deering, though. He almost fakes the drop pass to Teddy Mulgrave, which gives him just an extra second of space at the top of the zone where you really want to get a shot, because that's where the screens come from, right in the middle of the ice. Waterloo didn't have anyone at the net front taking away the eyes of Gadziev, so it's an easy save for him. But the right idea there from Grady Deering to go through the high roller, low to high, and fake that little crisscross pass with Teddy Mulgrave. Deering's had a heck of a period, by the way. He's thrown the body, he's won battles, and now he's generating offensive scoring chances.
Well, here's that line that you've talked about a few different times. Davatilla, Mason, and Huck for Waterloo. Trying to do a little bit more.
They've been in the offensive zone the whole period.
Davatilla wins the draw. Bogus. A shot and a save by Gadziev going down to make the butterfly stop. No rebounds.
Muskegon is weathering a storm right now. You rarely see this happen in the middle period of a contest. The first period was very even, but this has been all one-sided for Muskegon. And if you're, for Waterloo. And if you're on that Waterloo bench, you are saying, boys, we have to find a way to bury one. We can't let them get out of this with a lead. We're giving them everything we have. We got to find a way to break through. Someone's got to step up and make a play.
Off the draw, Mason turns and shoots, and it's soaked up by Gadziev once again.
Ty Mason was the one who also had that backdoor scoring chance off the wraparound opportunity by Sam Huck. Was just a second too late. But these three have been humming all night long. Sam Huck, especially in this series, has really stood out to me. He was playing fourth line. Tonight he's on the third line. Only 1 goal, 3 points in 14 games. But the score sheet does not reflect the impact that he's had on this series, because he creates opportunities almost every time he's out there.
We are 11 years to the day from the last time the Blackhawks played a Game 5 in a Clark Cup final. Waterloo fell to the Indiana Ice 3-2 in a game where they led in the third period, and trying to exercise those demons. The Hawks, in a span from 2007 to 2014, made the Clark Cup final 4 times without coming away with a championship. You have to go back to 2004 to find their last trophy.
I thought we weren't going to talk about that, Tim.
Puck's back in the Lumberjack zone with 8 minutes left to go in the second period. Brady brings it around the boards. Davatilla trying to swim after it. He and Nestrasil get there, and it's nudged out to the neutral zone, lifted to center by McLaughlin. Got caught up in front of the benches, and now Mason chops it free. Finds it along the boards right side, then to the end wall, looking to get it to Davatilla. And Vayu read it well, taking it away then for Nestrasil. Crisscrossing through center, harassed by Huck, who wrenched it free. Huck turns back inside of his own blue line for Ryan Whiterabbit, who has an assist in the game. Headman pass for Walker, looking for Mason overlapping, but it slides harmlessly to Gadziev.
What a play by Sam Huck. At the end of a shift, nonetheless, to find the legs, to hunt that puck down and win it back, and then help your team go on offense and get off the ice for a change. Number 89 in black has been so impressive every single game. And again, he makes a great play, not only offensively, but on the defensive end too, because if Muskegon goes the other way, that could be an odd man rush if his legs aren't going the way they were. Western Michigan's getting a very strong hockey player.
Yeah, we talked about Miami. Western Michigan certainly has some interest in this game as well, with Sam Huck, Nicholas Kasiba, and there are others too. Off the draw, shot by Mulgrave, gloved confidently by Gadziev.
3 chances like that off 1 faceoff in the offensive zone on the far side, and every single time Gadziev's able to swallow it up. They got to find a way to maybe walk to the middle and allow the wingers to actually get to the net. It's good that they the Waterloo Black Hawks have that shooting instinct, but you got to buy some time so your forwards can get to the net and try to create a rebound.
The Hawks have been very good at the dot throughout the postseason, seemingly getting better and better as these playoffs have gone along. Mulgrave set up as the trigger man behind Walker. The faceoff contested by Muskegon's Stefanik. And the faceoff goes into the corner. Hawkins got it free from Toll. Now trying to get some help from Walker to keep possession. Good effort by Lawrence, and it eventually makes it out to center on Stefanik's stick. He comes to the Hawks zone. Takes a wrist shot. Casey makes the kneeling save.
A strong battle on the boards by the 16-year-old Tynan Lawrence, the Boston University commit. Scored the game's first goal. Not only is he skilled, but he also plays the game hard, plays the game the right way, gets in on the boards, then gets help from his teammate Stefanik, who helps pick up that puck and get his legs going offensively for what could have been a 2-on-1. It was a little bit of a 2-on-1 with a back checker. Good idea for Stefanik to put the puck on net, but Carter Casey has swallowed up almost every shot he's seen. Both goalies, honestly, have swallowed up everything in this period.
If you're just joining us, the Muskegon Lumberjacks jumped out to a 2-0 lead. Their first goal less than 4 minutes in from Tynan Lawrence, and then a follow-up with just under 6 minutes left to play in the first period by Jack Christ in transition. The Blackhawks have the lone goal during the second period. Brendan McMorrow capitalizing when a chance came his way, and now the puck's on his stick again. He chips it to the slot, but it hops over Morick's stick and goes to the wall. And Morick trying to repossess the puck, but first it's nudged out to center. Phelan, rink wide for Petal. Shakes it ahead, McMorrow on left wing, turns away from Toll, back for Petal, half slap shot wide, looking for the tip from Morick. Now Phelan rims it behind the goal. Morick centers one, McMorrow got a stick to it, but not with control. Redirecting it wide, soft clearing attempt, and still forced out to center by Deputy. He had trouble getting it to settle down though, and it's dumped in off the glass.
Reed Morick was slamming his stick on the ice from the red line into the slot, looking for that feed from McMorrow. Just unfortunate that the ice is a little bit choppy here at the end of the period, and the puck wouldn't land on his blade.
Well, this line will go off for a change as the puck is pulled by Clares from behind his net. Danny Clares fed it at Brady. Read the play, but it goes up and over the glass on the redirection.
Something in the first period that Waterloo struggled in was their gaps. Muskegon had a very easy time at getting the puck over the offensive blue line and making a play, but in this middle frame, the Lumberjacks haven't had any time or space when they get the puck through the neutral zone into the offensive zone to make a play. So everything that they're trying to generate, Waterloo is either reading and stepping up on, or Muskegon is forced to just take a shot from the outside. They haven't been able to generate any sustained offense here in the middle frame.
The Harvard recruit Chase Stefanik vying for this draw against Deering, but a lot of movement before the faceoff. Want to mention our officials. Grant Hendrick and William Frazier, the referees. Odin Nelson and Josh Rosenbaum, the linesmen. Hendrick, Frazier, and Rosenbaum all worked games 1 and 3 in this series, and Nelson worked games 2 and 4.
Rosenbaum had a nice mic'd up video too I saw on the USHL Instagram page. That was some funny stuff.
Here's Deering out of his own zone for Ramos. Back for Deering in full flight, carries in, backhanded feed, looking for it. It goes all the way into the opposite corner. Barry takes it back, had his pocket picked by Brady, who got it into the slot, but only white-shirted Lumberjacks there. It's cleared. Brady fed it Deering's way, kicked it across the line. Rolling puck recovered by the Hawks. Jete, side of the net, and he was looking for Ramos, who collided with Godziev. Puck taken back by the Lumberjacks, and at the center, Nestrasil. Now in a foot race with Mulgrave. They collide. The puck gets away from both, and Compton, Johnny on the spot to find it. And for Jete, squirts past Klee into the offensive end once more. Wrist shot, Godziev sticks it aside. Nestrasil, headman pass for Galenic, setting up a 2-on-1 with Klee up the slot, and a save by Casey. No, it got by. He made the initial stop, but then the puck trickles inside the post at his right.
Carter Casey's complaining for goalie interference because it looked like Klee got that initial shot off, but then skated right through the crease and collided with Casey, which allowed him to actually fall back on the puck and knock it in. From our angle, as you see in the middle of the screen, Klee just drives to the net. After he takes the shot, he looks like he tries to jump over Casey and avoid him, but it looks like he makes contact with the shoulder, the right shoulder of Casey, which makes him fall back on the puck. So we get a better look at it right there. Casey's knocked a little bit off balance after that initial shot, which didn't go in right away.
The call on the ice, though, a good goal. And referees Grant Hendrick and William Frazier did discuss it. They confirmed the good goal with a follow-up signal. The Blackhawks do have the option to challenge for goaltender interference.
It's going to be a tough goal to call back because it was signaled as a good goal on the ice. There has to be conclusive evidence. But from my angle, it looked like when Klee tried to avoid Carter Casey after the initial shot, he made contact with the shoulder of the goaltender, and Casey knocked the puck in after that contact was made. I didn't see the puck initially go in right from that shot. So we'll see it.
If it stands, it'll be Klee's second of the postseason. He scored in each regular season game during this series. The Blackhawks did win them both. And we are going to have a review, a challenge, I believe, by the Blackhawks bench.
Kind of a risky challenge, but it feels like you almost have to do it because your team right now, and that team, the Waterloo Black Hawks, have all the momentum in this game as we see a little separation here by the Muskegon bench. Reed Morick went over to the end of the bench and is yapping with the Lumberjacks. But that initial shot is saved by Casey, and the puck goes in after Klee makes contact with Casey. So you got to think the puck goes in after that contact is made, and the goal should be called off. That's my opinion.
Well, the rule in the United States Hockey League regarding the challenge is that since the Blackhawks have their timeout, should this be an unsuccessful challenge, then they would lose the timeout. They would not be penalized. Had they already used their timeout and were making the challenge, they could be called for delay of game, but that's not the case here.
We're getting a great overhead look at the breakaway where Klee comes into the picture. The shot is stopped. After he makes contact, you see the puck go in. So to me, that puck doesn't go in if he doesn't make contact with the goal.
Well, and the other question I guess I have, I'd love to see that one more time to know how it went in. Did it go in off of Klee's skate? Is there a case to be made that the puck could have been kicked in?
That's a good point. Because it's clear as day that the initial shot was saved by Casey, and then Klee makes contact with the goaltender, and then magically you see the puck go in. I'll be shocked if they call this a good goal, to be honest.
Well, as it stands right now, it is a 3-1 game, and the Muskegon Lumberjacks back ahead by 2 with just over 5 minutes left to go in the second period. Shot goal favorable for the game, 22-13, and in the period, 11 shots on goal to 5. So, as you alluded to, this changes the game dramatically if it is a good goal, because the Hawks have had so much momentum on their side.
Also remember that Klee isn't pushed into the crease. He goes into the blue paint on his own. Granted, he tries to avoid the goaltender, but as my dear friend Jeff Marek says, if you're in the blue, it's on you. So he has to do a good job at avoiding the blue paint, and that would negate the whole thing, but he goes right through that blue crease, which is the goaltender's protected area. He makes contact, puck goes in. Can you do lip reading, Tim? Can you see what they're saying?
I can't make it out from here, even with the help from the monitor. What I will say was that David Klee had a season with the Blackhawks where he was a young guy on this Waterloo team. It was his draft year. The San Jose Sharks picked him in the 7th round of that draft. He felt like he was looking for something else, a different kind of opportunity. Ended up traded to the Muskegon Lumberjacks and has really done very well in Muskegon since that trade. Klee, 120 regular season games as a Lumberjack with 85 points after 13 points in 63 games as a Blackhawk.
Looks like we're about to have a call as well.
The pictures in the crowd say it all. It's still a 2-1 game.
I felt that one. I felt that one. Because the puck doesn't go in until after Klee makes contact with Casey. The reason it go in because the goaltender is pushed off balance. I think the refs got this one right. And a great challenge. You got to credit the coaches, Coach Spavey, for having the willingness to challenge that play.
So now as the Muskegon Lumberjacks, how do you come back from this? You think you're up by 2, and now you're only up by 1, and the crowd is as lively as they've been since Brendan McMorrow scored.
Well, you got to be happy that you at least got a grade A scoring chance, because that's the best opportunity that Muskegon has had this entire period. They haven't been able to get to the middle of the ice, but it's their captain who can settle things down. They need his leadership to go through the bench, say, guys, we just got a great chance. We can do it again. Just go one shift at a time, and let's try to slowly gain momentum back, or quickly, I should say. Quickly gain momentum back here.
Well, the Lumberjacks won the draw. Veyu had a little trouble with it, but does get it dumped in. Walker to it first. Keeps it moving counterclockwise. Sanderson Got his body in front of the puck, sealed the boards. It pops up into the air. Now he bangs shoulders with Walker. A couple of tough customers there. Big bodies. Walker kicked it up the boards. Not out. Long try. Didn't get through for McLaughlin. Recovered though. Stewart drops it back. Bayou would drive, and a good save by Casey. And Walker with possession clears it. So a nice response by the Lumberjacks. But now, Hawkins just couldn't quite get there with a good play being cut off by Bayou. Kasiba had to go back to try to get it. That had been deflected. It didn't make it too deep into the Lumberjacks zone. The Hawks rally at center with Brady. One toward the net, steered aside by Godziev. Clearing attempt. McMorrow read it, took it away. Moves toward the side of the goal. Centers one deflected. And a save on Morick with a great chance turning that one toward goal.
It seems like every time Brendan McMorrow has had the puck in this second period, something magical is about to happen. Right there, makes a great inside-out move in the corner and then tries to beat his defenseman to the net and throw the puck on the cage. As you see Waterloo doing a great job at forcing turnovers. McMorrow with that move around McLaughlin looking for Morick in the slot. Morick couldn't get enough on it as a right-handed shot. But this Waterloo Black Hawks top line gets chance after chance. You got to think they're going to break through here at some point.
And this group was put together for Game 4 in this series, a combination of a couple of different lines as it's picked up and carried out to center by Rabkin, trying to feed Deputy. He does get it off the wall and makes his way toward the left corner, but upended there by McMorrow. Puck shoveled back toward the line, not out. Long try, didn't get through for Barry. Peddle took a bad step, gets back up, clears it. Morick kicks the puck at center. Townsend tracks it down on left wing, trying to get around Clares. Puck gets away. Townsend gets it back in front. Morick fires. He scores! Reed Morick, the Black Hawk captain, has tied this game up at 16:20 of the second period. Morick capitalizing after Townsend got behind the net and made something happen. Townsend, the leading Black Hawk playoff scorer.
These three have been buzzing all period long, but Teddy Townsend gains a step on Clares, who hesitates for 1 second whether or not he should step up and separate the man from the puck. He allows Townsend to burn him wide. Reed Morick is banging on his stick, letting Townsend know he is in the slot, and Townsend has the wherewithal to find him right on the tape. Morick doesn't get a whole lot out of it, but he puts it in a perfect spot to tie this game up. You felt it coming, and they finally found a way to break through. And Tim, who better than the captain of this team to tie this thing up?
Well, you think back to game number 4 in the series against the Sioux Falls Stampede when Morick scored 2 third-period goals, brought the Hawks back from a deficit. He brings them even here, and now a shot for the Hawks that is smothered by Godziev. That chance coming from Chase Jete.
Morick also had those 2 goals in game 1, which actually helped break through to get the first win of this series in the Clark Cup final. But this building right now, Young Arena, Partytown, USA, is so loud I can't even hear my own thoughts. This is wild. I have like the chills through my body right now with how the roof almost exploded after this game just got tied.
Well, it is one of the loudest environments anywhere that you're going to find in junior hockey. The building has just over 2,900 seats with standing room around 3,500, and we have every one of those 3,500 in the building tonight.
Isn't it ironic, too, how in Game 4 it was Waterloo who let a 2-0 lead slip. This time it's Muskegon. Hockey is just a wildly random sport.
Nestrasil missed Galanik. It's picked up by Bogus, who just avoided Galanik and now finds Deering. Bangs shoulders, but got the puck dumped in after colliding with Barry. Toll harassed by Ramos. And the undersized forward, just couldn't quite get control of it on the kick plate. Galanik meanders back to center. His pass gets across the width of the ice. Nestrasil to the offensive zone, dragging, shooting. And it was blocked by Bogus. Back out in front, and a pass hops away from Galanik, but he follows up and nudges it to the corner. Galanik checked there. Nestrasil trying to carry on and does get control back to Veyu. His shot partially blocked by Ramos. Now it's spun Ramos's way. He's got a breakaway off the slot, and it's off the post, and it ricochets away. Lands back in the slot. Spitznagel finds it first, spikes it out to center. Big hit between Spitznagel and Ramos as the puck slides back down to the Black Hawk zone.
Oh my God, just nonstop action here. What a pass by Jete to Ramos on the breakaway.
And here's Sam Huck trying to get Veyu turned around, moves right around him. Upended play continues as Mason gets it back for Huck, then for Davatilla, but played it to the boards and no one was there. Huck gets it back, missed the net from a sharp angle. Phelan dodged a check, got it to Huck, comes to the top of the circle, shooting. It was outside the frame of the goal, gloved by Godziev with just over 2 minutes left to play in the second period.
We got a lot to look over here. First, Jate makes the play in the defensive zone to find a streaking Ramos right on his tape, and he beats Gaziev but couldn't beat the crossbar. Then Sam Huck with the little dangle. After we get a second look at this breakaway chance by Ramos, they were an inch away from taking their first lead of the game. Ramos streaking through the middle of the ice, and Jate put it perfectly. It was like feathered from tape to tape, a beautiful play. Oh man, this period has been just non-stop action for the Waterloo Black Hawks offensively. It's been so fun in this building. The crowd just on the edge of their seat every time Waterloo has the puck in the offensive zone.
Here's Compton. High slotted drive is blocked by Toll, who got control and cleared it. Should be icing if Compton can win the race, but Lawrence gets there, and it's a washout, but Compton ultimately does win the puck. Failed to clear. Rim back behind the Hawk net clockwise. Huck with time, running out of time, avoids Sanderson. Gets some help from Petal. It's back to center, but Lawrence turns right back in. Wrist shot. Fought off by Casey. Hopped out of his glove. Huck plays it to the wall. And now it's flipped up the center. Mason trying to track it down. Drop pass for Huck. Swoops through the left circle. In front. Just missed Mason. Compton winds, fakes, gives it to McMorrow. Here's his wrist shot. Blocked up out of play.
Sam Huck doing it again on both ends of the ice. He makes a great play in the defensive zone to absorb the hit and leave the puck for Petal, who's able to make the breakout pass, and then Huck actually gets up the ice and joins the play, making it a 2-on-2. Makes a great move, throws it to the middle, and then the Waterloo Blackhawks are able to sustain pressure right from that play. McMorrow with a perfect chance in the slot, but a good block shot from Muskegon. Both teams doing a heck of a job at throwing out and blocking shots. I got to shout out Nick Bogus a couple of minutes ago, who looked like a mini hockey goalie, the way he was able to make that save with his left shin pad.
Morick, the most recent goal. He's got the puck, side of the net, goes behind. Reed Morick, the Blackhawk captain, left circles, put it in front. He goes all the way across to Mulgrave. His try. Missed the face of goal, ends up opposite corner. Back to the line, held in by Brady, looking for McMorrow. Bayou took it away. Townsend nearly got it back, but instead it's Rabkin. Ivan Rabkin gave it up to Morick with the steal at center. Hawks turn back in. Townsend on left wing, stops along the wall. Down goes across the high slot, pulls to his forehand. A one-timer from Bogus, and that one didn't make it through. Bogus collects the long rebound, steps into the corner on right wing, steers through some traffic, flipped it toward the front of the net, and it was knocked down by Vayu and cleared. And then slow to get up, Rabkin back in his own zone. Morick trying to shovel one McMorrow's way, broken up by McLaughlin. Hawks do want to dump it in. 35 seconds left in the second period. Puck cleared back out. I mentioned at the start of the period that all 10 Muskegon wins in the postseason have come in games where they led at the second intermission. They might not even be tied there with chance from Ramos. Turned aside, Jate gets it back, looking for Petal on the left half wall. And he runs into traffic now in a wrestling match with Van Blaricom. Rabkin gave it up behind his net. It's centered. Van Blaricom, a recovery to break up the pass. It squirts out to the neutral zone. Phelan's going to circle back and while away the seconds that remain in the second period. And after 4 games in this series were not enough to determine who would win the Clark Cup, 2 periods in this game have given us no advantage either way. The Waterloo Black Hawks and the Muskegon Lumberjacks are tied up at 2, and the season comes down to 20 minutes.
Waterloo has shown how strong this home ice advantage is at Young Arena in Partytown, USA. I mean, they fed off the crowd that entire period. You can hear it right now as they leave the ice for what is going to be potentially their last intermission of the season. But this hockey game has taken a massive turn where an hour ago we felt like Waterloo might have been out of this thing, and now it feels like they're in full control.
Well, back in the opening period, it was Tynan Lawrence and then Jack Christ to give the Muskegon Lumberjacks a 2-0 lead. Brendan McMorrow and Reed Morick have answered. We've got 20 minutes left, and it should be very entertaining. At least 20 minutes, maybe more. We'll be back to talk more about it after a break. You're watching coverage of Game 5 of the United States Hockey League Clark Cup Final from Young Arena in Waterloo.
Welcome back to Young Arena. We are in the second intermission of Game 5 of the Clark Cup Final. Winner take all, where the Waterloo Black Hawks have clawed their way back from down 2-0 in the second period to tie things up at 2-2 going into the third and final period of the USHL season. It's been an exciting first 40 minutes. It's sure going to be an exciting final 20. But I am now joined by the president and commissioner of the USHL, Glenn Heffron, who is a personal friend. It's good to be joined by you here, and good to have you in the building to award the trophy. You're about 45 minutes to an hour away from handing out the Clark Cup trophy. Do you ever get nervous when you have to do that?
No. I've done it in front of 5,000 fans. I've done it, had to make presentations in front of 11,000 when we did Ethan Wittenbach's Gaudreau Award, so that never an issue there.
Well, you're a great public speaker. I've seen it firsthand.
Thank you.
But now that we're in the final period, or without overtime, we're in the final period of the season, is it too early to start thinking about the off-season goals for the league and things you want to accomplish this summer going into next season, or you kind of just going to sit back? I don't know if you can relax with this atmosphere, but enjoy the final 20 and then worry about it after.
I think we get right back at it. We'll have a little break here, but we get right back at it. We've got USA Hockey meetings, and we've got our season planning coming up. We've got to start planning for the Fall Classic, getting our schedule done for 25-26 season. We've got our player development camp coming up in Green Bay. So there's always a lot to do. So there's really never an off season. But, there's definitely some specific goals. There's some great things happening at the national level for Tier 1 youth hockey, and that we're pretty involved with. And we're hoping that will make a huge difference in player development and create an easier or better path for players to aspire to the USHL.
Well, speaking of player development, the NHL draft is also right around the corner in the end of June in Los Angeles, and you've seen so many players come from this league and advance into the NHL. Is there a certain recipe that goes into what the USHL has to offer to so many young players? And one that we can think of is Tynan Lawrence, who's 16 years old, playing in the Clark Cup final in Game 5, scored a goal, and his draft year isn't even until the following year. So you got to imagine his development is going to skyrocket, not only this offseason, but into next season as well.
Well, we hear this from colleges, from pro scouts. Our model actually is the best model for player development. We play 92% of our games on the weekend, Friday, Saturday. We're training Monday through Thursday, and we have a rest period. So, rest, recovery, and a player-first mentality. Our teams aren't spending tons of time on buses, and that is, practicing is what makes you a better player. I think our game count is right. I think our mix of player size and roster ages is actually perfect. We're a little heavy, but not too heavy. And if you ask around, I think most good hockey people are going to tell you this is a really tough league to play in. You have to be really good.
And you speak about the model of the league, but you might look like a model yourself here with this fresh fancy jacket. You know a little bit about modeling? I don't know if it's okay that I'm touching you or not.
We'll hire you back, John. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I got to kiss up just a little bit. But speaking of just development, experience, all these different kinds of things that these players are now gaining, we're in a sold-out Young Arena, probably the biggest game all these players have played in to this point of their lives. I mean, I can't think of a bigger opportunity for them to not only showcase their talent, but to just have a sold-out crowd to play in front of. What does this do for their confidence, their experience level, just going into college, in a couple of years from now and playing in front of maybe 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 fans in years to come?
Well, John, I mean, you're a public speaker, and you understand you understand what pressure is, and having to call games and being on live TV and so on. And for these players, they're in front of all these fans. If you're the home team, there's a lot of pressure on the home team to win. If you're the visiting team, you've got to deal with the sound of the home team's crowd.
It's loud.
It's so loud in here. The pressure is unbelievable, but this is all part of development. Winning and losing is all part of development, going through adversity. This is an adverse environment if you are the visiting team. And no differently even for the home team. They've got to perform in front of their fans. It's heavy pressure, and it's why I think we do so well in the player development lane. 97% of our players will land in Division I college hockey. That's something we're proud of. This year's Frozen Four, 79 players are USHL alum.
So in the first intermission, I spoke with NHL insider Frank Saravelli, and we talked about expansion. I know that's one of the goals for the league, and Frank did confirm live on air that he will not be buying a team or owning a team.
I heard.
Being the GM in the near future. But when you think about the goals for the league in the next 3 to 5 years, is expansion at the top of that list, or is there something else that comes to mind?
Well, expansion's certainly part of it. There's a lot of things that we are looking at. First of all, making sure that the player experience from a development and training standpoint is fairly identical from team to team. We want players, agents, coaches, college coaches to say, doesn't matter what team you play in the USHL, you're going to be in great shape, great hands in terms of your development on and off the ice. We have a player-first program. It's a player-first mentality. It is making sure on health, nutrition, off-ice training, weight training, nutrition, supplements, rest, recovery, all of these things. So that's a priority, and making sure we have uniformity across the league on that. And we are working on an audit system that we're going to get direct feedback from players through the season and in postseason to make sure they are getting the experience that they need to become NHL players and Division I college hockey players. Expansion becomes part of that. We want our draft numbers to grow, and the only way we can do that is by adding a few more teams, and that will happen in due course.
And communication seems key. And I got one more question for you, just quickly. I got to wrap it up with a fun one. You had your first Culver's experience today. It seems to be a Midwest staple. Where do you rank it amongst the best fast food burgers?
I got to admit, I was a little suspect. It's probably one of the best burgers I've had in a long, long time. It was. I'll be making another trip there. Maybe we'll do lunch there tomorrow.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Always a pleasure to talk to you, and enjoy the final 20 minutes of what could be the last 20 minutes of the season.
Thanks, John.
Waterloo Black Hawks and Muskegon Lumberjacks came together Labor Day weekend last year. 8.5 months later, it's nearly Memorial Day, and the two seasons for these teams come down to one period at Young Arena. Game 5 of the Clark Cup final. Nothing's been decided yet. It's tied at 2 with Johnny Lazarus from Daily Faceoff. I'm Tim Harwood. Let's look at the Hawks rally in period 2.
It all starts with Brendan McMorrow, the Denver commit, who gets on his horse, wins a puck race, gets it from low to high, and then crashes to the back post where he finds a rebound off the backboards off of a pedal one-timer. And then on the other end, it seemed like it was going to be a 3-1 game in favor of Muskegon. Their captain, David Klee, scored on the breakaway, or at least we thought so. But after the initial shot, Klee makes contact with Carter Casey, which then forces the puck in. And after a challenge, that call was waived. No goal. And then here's the goal that tied things up. McMorrow again making plays happen. It's that top line getting another good scoring chance, which then led to Teddy Townsend making a play out of their own zone. Townsend catches Danny Clares, make a split decision if he was going to step up or not. He burns him wide, throws it to the middle of the ice where the captain, Reed Morick, is banging on his stick, waiting for that pass to hit his tape, and he puts it in the back of the net. And just like that, we got a 2-2 game going into the final period of this USHL season.
Waterloo outshot Muskegon 15-8 in the second period. Now the 40-minute totals are 26 shots in favor of the Black Hawks for 16 on the Lumberjack side. No power plays either way in period 2. Both teams are 0 for 1 for the game. Back in the first period, Tynan Lawrence and Jack Christ scored the Muskegon Lumberjacks goals, 3:53 and 14:03 of the first period respectively. The start of the comeback for Waterloo, the goal by Brendan McMorrow, assisted by Brady Peddle and Ryan White Rabbit at 4:03 of the second. Then the game-tying score after the non-goal, the goal that was overturned after review. The game-tying score for Reed Morick at 16:20 of the second, assisted by Teddy Townsend. I believe a second assist to Brady Peddle there.
Yeah, Brady Peddle made the play in the D zone. He actually stumbled for a second, toe pick, but recovered and was able to chip the puck out of the zone to a flying Teddy Townsend. And listen, Tim, in a Game 5 winner-take-all situation, you need your best players to be your best players, and the top line for Waterloo, Teddy Townsend, Brendan McMorrow, and Reed Morick, stepped up in the biggest period of the year to tie this game up at 2.
So we've got 20 minutes left, but potentially a little more because the last two games in this series both went to overtime. It's the first time since 2017 that two games in a Clark Cup final went beyond regulation as Phelan lifts one towards the end boards. It's collected by Vayu. Then right of the net, Nestor still didn't receive it. Peddle put it in front, and it was out of Ramos's reach. Ramos, though, goes to the boards on the right side, tracking it down, winging it behind the net for Grady Deering. Deering centered one, again through the crease, all the way back out to the right point. Phelan for Ramos, comes off the boards. Rink-wide Peddle, shooting, missed the net. This one will carry him off the end glass, back out to neutral ice. Hawks regroup. Ramos back for Phelan. And with the dump in, it goes clockwise for a tour. Well, made it up and into the protective netting on its way behind the net.
David Klee, the captain for Muskegon, caught something in the face. Not sure if it was a stick or an elbow, but he was checking his face for blood as he was caught in the D zone there to start this period. The officials didn't really see anything happen. Not necessarily sure if he was looking for a penalty, but it seemed to fluster him just for a second. And if you're the captain of this team right now, if you're on the Muskegon bench right now, you don't want to see your captain go down. So it's good to see him on the bench being attended to, and it looks like he'll be okay to go out the next shift.
Center circle face-off. Brendan McMorrow, who's been buzzing throughout this game, his first goal of the Clark Cup final, starting the Black Hawk rally in the second period. Unable to win the draw away from Lawrence. He's had a great postseason. 18 points. It's the most for any player in the USHL postseason since Dan Lebowski of the Tri-City Storm back in 2016. And Lawrence can tie him with one more point in this game. Deputy, meanwhile, down to the Hawks zone, wrapped up by the Hawks Mulgrave, and Morick takes the puck for Waterloo, looking for McMorrow. Rabkin took it away, couldn't get a shot off, and Morick turns out to center, forgot the puck for a moment in front of the Black Hawk bench. McMorrow advanced it and was able to get it into the zone so the Hawks could change. Lawrence stops quickly, avoids McMorrow, then clicks with Radovojevic for a dump in. It goes clockwise behind the Hawk net, and Bogus trying to help it along. Could not get it out with Spitznagel in front of him. He had a key third period goal on Saturday in Game 4 during a Lumberjack comeback. And now the Hawks do dig it out, and here's Ty Mason. He gets around to Vojovic, turned around, brings it into the zone for a shot that went wide, may have been deflected. Compton back out for Mason, right point, goes across the width of the ice. Pass was tipped, it looked like, and now taken and cleared. Bogus lost the handle, and it's brought by Stefanik to the Hawks zone. Long low shot, save, rebound. Christ scores! Jack Christ with his second of the game, and Muskegon back to the lead. It's 3-2 Lumberjacks at 1:54 of the third period.
A funky rebound for the Muskegon Lumberjacks. Chase Stefanik just threw it on net, and you never know what could happen when the puck hits a goalie. Jack Christ just crashing to the near post, looking for any opportunity. I don't know how he even roofed that upstairs from the angle he got. It's a far shot from Stefanik, and Chris almost from the goal line with great hand-eye coordination just squeaks that one through the near side top shelf. Stuck that right under the bar. Just great hustle by Jack Chris for his second goal of the night.
He has doubled his Clark Cup playoff goal total. He went from 2 to 4 with 2 in Game 5. And again, it is a winner-take-all, fifth game. So Muskegon up, 2 minutes gone in the third period as Deering sweeps it down deep into the Lumberjack zone. Veyu jostled by Ramos, who got it free, and trying to get it back. Jete couldn't get it to him, and the Lumberjacks able to flip it out to neutral territory. Klee tying up Phelan's stick, got the stick up. Now Galanic takes the puck and comes into the Hawks zone, but checked by Jete. It's Peddle, then for Phelan. Gaining the line, Phelan taps it to the boards. Ramos near the end of a shift, rings it behind the Muskegon net. Veyu picked it up, then at his pocket pick, Kasiba getting it in front. It just went off the skate of Ramos, and it's cleared.
All the goals Muskegon has scored tonight, it seems like they make something out of nothing, just very opportunistic for the Lumberjacks.
Here's Mulgrave dropping one Hawkins direction out of his reach. And Hawkins makes a wide turn before advancing it, lifts it off the right wing glass. McLaughlin reversed it. And now it's Sanderson trying to clear it. Kasiba got a piece of it, stays at center, now squirts back down into the Lumberjack zone just more than 3 minutes into the third period. Lifted up the boards by Van Blaricum. He tries to get back to it, swept away by Peddle. Now it's Bradley Walker for Waterloo. Walker trying to dodge a check, lost the puck for a moment. He goes down and takes a Lumberjack with him. That was Stewart. Play continues as Muskegon clears it. Peddle batted that one away from the oncoming Carter Sanderson. Now it's Hawkins, 1 against 2 into the offensive zone, shooting, and Gadziev made the save. It sprang off of him.
What a chance there by Keaton Hawkins.
And Morick a takeaway, left wing corner, drops it back, Peddle, half slap shot, tip, sharp angle try, loose in the crease, and somehow Gadziev got on top of it with the puck lying just inches from the goal line.
Reed Morick can't believe it. That puck was sitting at the doorstep. Keaton Hawkins made a sprawling dive. Brendan McMorrow was right there on the near post to poke it home. I don't know how that puck stayed out. Morick makes a good play from low to high. Peddle just throws it to the net. Morick at the goal line puts it right on the blue paint, and Hawkins can't get a stick on it. What a stick lift right there by Danny Clares. A desperation play on the goal line. The puck is 2 inches away from crossing the goal line. Watch 13 in white tie the stick up right there of Keaton Hawkins to keep that puck out of the net. That is a game-saving stop from Danny Clares, a Notre Dame commit.
Muskegon 3, Waterloo 2. Jack Christ with 2 goals in the game, including the go-ahead score early in this third period. Chika Gadziev was shaken up on the play. He was slow to get back up. He's got the headgear off now.
I think he's trying to just cool the team down too. He can feel the pressure starting to come in his direction. Also, the refs are letting them play, that is for sure. There was a takedown about a minute earlier, which looked like it was interference to me, but the refs are really going to let things go here. And even that play that Clares just made could have been a slash. He knocks that stick right out of Hawkins' hands.
McMorrow wins the draw. Morick fires, and it looked like Gadziev got a piece of it, waving the glove, and it goes into the protective netting with nearly 4 minutes gone in the third period.
Well, now if you're Muskegon, I think what Coach Burgess is saying on the bench is that we can't sit back and just try to protect this lead. We have to keep pushing. The second period, they stayed on their heels the whole time, and Waterloo kept coming and coming and coming, and they do not want to have to face that again for 16 more minutes because you know at some point the Blackhawks will find a way to break through.
Yeah, do you prefer in this situation, Johnny, to be the team chasing or the team with the lead as Morick takes one away? We'll get your answer in a moment. Here's Morick, give and go in front, centering feed, goes just wide for Townsend. Lawrence for the Lumberjacks. Brings it back to the line, avoided McMorrow, then Deputy lost it to McMorrow. Dexheimer there to get it back. It's Rabkin feathering one ahead. Lumberjacks have to let it go deep. Might have been offside had they tried to carry it in. There's pushing and shoving in front of the benches as Phelan got the puck ahead to Peddle to roll down to the left wing corner. Bayou kept it moving, and it's McLaughlin chopping at a rolling puck. It makes it back to the line, out to center. The Hawks would be offside. The Lumberjacks clear it, and it just missed Nestrasil. Peddle turns it the other way for Davatilla, shakes it off the left boards. Mason pursues. Bayou had a step. Played it behind his net to McLaughlin, given a little bit of room, hoists it out to the neutral zone. It rolls down to Blackhawks ice. No chance for icing. 5 minutes gone in the third. Muskegon 3, Waterloo 2. Peddle sweeps it right of the goal. Compton out to the neutral zone. Huck got to the line, chopped away from him there by the Lumberjacks. Radivojevic, and the Hawks would have been called for too many men on the ice. So Chris gets their centers near the top of the crease. A stub attempt to stop by Casey. The try from Galanic. Chris has it back. He's got 2 goals in the game. For Stefanik, shooting blocked. Huck pulls the puck below the icing line. Stops there to avoid Galanic, and now starts out for center. Puck across the red line into the offensive zone. Lost the handle. It swept back out to the neutral ice area.
A strong play by Huck to the neutral zone, but just a little bit too much there as he crossed the blue line. At that point, just try to burn him wide. Don't try to dangle and set up the offense. As now we see an offensive zone draw here, though, coming for the Waterloo Blackhawks. They're going to send out their second line of Hunter Ramos, Grady Deering, and Chase Chate, who've had a great game tonight, but they haven't been able to break through offensively. They've gotten a couple chances. Deering has also thrown a ton of hits. But you asked me that question before, which side would I rather be on right now? Up one, sitting back, or down one, putting all the pressure on? I think no matter what, you want to have that lead, right?
Deering wins a faceoff. White Rabbit shot is blocked, but he collects his own rebound. The rolling puck as he dashes for the corner, stops. Now spins it into the corner for Deering. Trying to keep it moving. Got it to Jate behind the net. Return pass. Toll interceded. But White Rabbit kept it in again on the right boards. Deering knocked down by Toll. Jate put it into the crease, and it's smothered by Godziev.
I think Coach Smaby is going to get his top line back on the ice for an offensive zone draw here. Teddy Townsend looks eager to get back on that ice. He knows he has one in him. We saw some Teddy Townsend magic in game 1. He scored the hat trick, had a 4-point night. You got to think 44 in black is due for one here in a big moment.
He is the only junior era of Waterloo Blackhawk to have 2 hat tricks in the same postseason.
Unbelievable. That game 1 performance was one of the best I've seen in quite some time.
6 minutes gone in the third. Muskegon 3, Waterloo 2 as the faceoff won by Stefanik, and the puck sent up the boards by Barry. Does make it out to center. Ramos forced to turn by Lawrence. Uses the end wall, banking it to Morgan Brady, then Jate. Nearly gave it up to Christ, who's got 2 goals, including the go-ahead score. Clares, meanwhile, back in his own zone for Spitznagel. Flew it out to center and finding Christ, but cut off by Mulgrave. Now it is Teddy Mulgrave for Waterloo coming up left wing, given some space at least as far as the red line into the offensive end. Mulgrave put it in front. Godziev steers it to the end boards. Deering's hit by a high stick, and they'll have the first power play since the opening period.
The official signal that it's only going to be a 2 minutes, no blood on Grady Deering, but no better opportunity for a power play than right now. You're down 1. You have all the momentum in the world. The crowd is eager for an explosion as we get another look at that high stick right there by Xavier Veillot. Catches the face of Grady Deering, and you don't root for players to bleed ever, but I feel like if you're Deering there and maybe a Blackhawks fan, you're hoping for just a little bit of blood so you can get a double minor.
Well, during the first 3 games in this series, each team had 1 power play conversion. In game 4, the Blackhawks got the first goal of the night with a power play score. Muskegon got a power play goal 6-on-4 in the closing moments to force overtime. But this would be a big power play conversion, perhaps the biggest of the series, if the Blackhawks get this conversion to tie it up with 13.5 left to play in regulation.
I've got a funny feeling about Teddy Townsend. Last time I said it in game 1, he scored shortly after.
Well, the puck comes right his way off the draw for Hawkins outside the right circle. Caden Hawkins then to McMorrow's side of the net, back for Compton, a drive, and Godzia made the save. He didn't know where it was, reaching behind, but he did cover it up. 10 seconds into the penalty time against Bayou.
What a drawn-up play, though, off the faceoff. That is something that the Blackhawks certainly work on when they do their special teams in practice. They have Dylan Compton loading up, going outside the zone, walking back in to step into a one-timer, and he keeps it low just in case there could be a rebound. But credit to Shika Godzia for holding his ground and getting on top of that puck and not allowing any second or third chances.
26 of Compton's 40 regular season assists were in power play situations. Clean face-off win, Deering to Townsend, setting up Compton, back for Townsend, a blast, it was blocked. He collects the rolling puck, gets it back to Compton, the Hawks stay in formation. Now McMorrow steers it to Hawkins, received it on his offhand, he curls towards the wall. Top of the right circle, back for Compton, sets up a Hawkins one-timer, it was blocked by Barry. Hawkins recovers it, back to Compton, up the wall Hawkins, then to the deep slot Townsend, now Compton right point, shuffles, back pedals, put it to the side of the net, Deering trying to get it in front, and it ricocheted to the end wall, Townsend tracking it down there, worked over by Barry, got it back for Deering, missed McMorrow, but Hawkins has it. 1:15 on the power play. Hawkins nearly ran into his own man, got it to Compton, then for Hawkins, moves in and fires, it was blocked again by Barry. Two big shot blocks from Bauer Barry in that kill. Hawks try to hurry it back in. Compton gains the line, shields the puck, left wing boards, knocked down by Lawrence. McMorrow there to help out. Then ran into Lawrence himself. Compton gets back into the play, cut down, puck pops up into the air. Toll is jostled, Deering pulls it back for Hawkins, fires it wide, and then Godziev flips it into the corner. Hawkins with 45 seconds on the power play across the slot on his forehand shooting. It was deflected, went to the end boards, chopped at by Nestrasil. Hawkins there to keep it in for Townsend right point. Then McMorrow had it stripped away, unable to get it back, but Hawkins keeps a clearing attempt in. Drop pass. Townsend overskated it. Compton kicked it to keep it in. Then for Townsend, moves in and fires. It's blocked. Puck is loose and the Lumberjacks clear it.
So many block shots, so many chances to clear the puck. Muskegon unable to do it, but finally a big play defensively there. Townsend couldn't get that shot to the cage. He had the whole lane to get it on net, but Muskegon has laid out and blocked shots all night long.
One last rush on this power play with the second Blackhawk unit. Jate playing it around the boards. Davatilla trying to center it. It deflects, it lands at center. Ramos has to go back and get it as the penalty time ends, and Bayou comes out of the penalty box.
So many good looks, but it felt like every chance Waterloo just had in that power play missed the net. Caden Hawkins right in the slot.
Here's Hunter Ramos throwing on the breaks, left wing boards for Davatilla in the corner. Ramos carries on behind the net, knocked down, still able to center one, backhanded. It is taken away by Stewart. And then to Stefanik. Plays the Karen, brings it in for a shot. Casey sticks it aside, hits the glass, swooping in at Sam Huck. Full head of steam, gets a defender, turned around, moves right in. He lost the handle. Lumberjacks clear it.
When Huck gets going, he can really fly, huh, Tim?
Absolutely. It's an icing call, so a face-off will be here in the Muskegon zone. 3-2 Lumberjacks with 10:47 left to go in the third period. In the period, the Blackhawks just 4 shots on goal. It feels like more than that. Muskegon also with 4. They have the one that makes a difference. The second of the night from Christ to give Muskegon the 3-2 lead.
The Blackhawks also just had a power play opportunity, but it seems like they're looking for the officials to give them another one. Every time they go down, they're kind of throwing their hands up looking for a call. They got to keep on going here, keep fighting through.
Walker trying to get around Stefanik, but it's Deputy who controls it for the Lumberjacks. Hoisting it out to center, went over Galanik's shoulder. Huck golfs it the other way. Walker trying to get back in position. It's nudged up the ice by Vayu. Compton collects it. 10:30 to go, third period. Lumberjacks 3, Waterloo 2. Walker kicks the puck into the offensive zone, but Toll circles. And it's brought back up ice by Rabkin. Had the game winner in overtime, double overtime in fact in game 3. Here he gets to the offensive zone before being separated from the puck by Mulgrave. It's Brady Peddle with assists on both Blackhawk goals. To Walker on a rink-wide feed. Walker dives to check, but then couldn't get back to the puck. Back to center it goes. Halfway through the third period, Muskegon 3, Waterloo 2. It's Toll flipping it up the wall. Rolls to the end boards behind the Hawk net. All the goals in the game scored on that end of the ice. 2 in the first period for the Lumberjacks, now 1 in the third. The Hawks had 2 into that net in the second. Vayu winds up from center, drives it wide of the Blackhawk goal. It came off the end boards. Christ jousting for it. Mulgrave got a piece of it. Phelan, the one that comes away from the scrum. Now Townsend in front of the Blackhawk bench. Flipped it ahead. McMorrow pursuing. Got there in the left wing corner. Claire's trying to wrap him up. McMorrow swatting at the puck polo style. Couldn't bat it to Reed Morick. This could go for icing again, but it's going to be washed out because the puck was up on edge. Ramos plays it clockwise behind his net for Bogus. Reversed it counterclockwise, stolen by Lawrence. Shoots, saved by Casey. Rebound off into the boards at his left. McMorrow used the glass to clear it. Sanderson dumps it back into the corner diagonally. Under 9 minutes left to go in the third. 3-2 Muskegon. And near the Hawk blue line. Puck does get out to center. Van Blaricom tried to send it back in, but Brady was in the way. And now it's Jete for Waterloo. Chase Jete, a long chance that trickled toward the net, and it's smothered by the netminder Shika Gadzia. More than halfway through the third period. It's the Muskegon Lumberjacks 3, the Waterloo Black Hawks 2. Timeout on the ice. We'll come back with more of the third. You're watching Game 5 of the United States Hockey League Clark Cup Final at Young Arena in Waterloo. The Muskegon Lumberjacks came into this game with 5 players who had 13 or more points during the Clark Cup playoffs. Jack Christ was not one of them, but he's got 2 goals, including a third period go-ahead score that has the Lumberjacks on top of the Waterloo Black Hawks 3-2 with 8:43 left to go. With daily face-off host Johnny Lazarus, I'm Tim Harwood. And it should be an exciting finish based on what we've seen so far.
It's going to be the longest 8 minutes and 43 seconds of all these Muskegon Lumberjacks lives. You can't help but chip the puck in, get off the ice, and you just look at that clock, hoping it winds down each time you get on and off the ice. But Waterloo continues to press. I do have to give credit, though, to Muskegon, who's done a great job since killing off that power play.
Tyne and Lawrence batting at the puck, didn't get it out. Chete capped it in across the ice. Ramos fires, he scores! Hunter Ramos, who started the season with the Omaha Lancers. He was a Youngstown Phantom last season. The Blackhawks are his third team, and he said after he was traded to Waterloo that he was here to win a Clark Cup. Hunter Ramos has tied the game at 11:30 of the third period.
The roof almost just exploded. The offensive zone draw is won by the Blackhawks. Chase Jete makes a quick little shoulder check after he picks up the puck off of the boards, fires a cross-seam pass to Ramos, who is loaded, catches the pass and lets it rip to beat Shika Gadziev to the top shelf. What a goal, what a celly, what a moment. And oh my God, this place is going nuts right now.
And did you see who was out on the ice also along those right wing boards? It was Brady Peddle again, who's already had a hand in the 2 prior Waterloo Blackhawk goals. Number 86 on the NHL Central Scouting final rankings, making a strong impression here in the last game of the season. Win, lose, or anything else, this is the last game of this season for all these players. Game 5 of the Clark Cup final. And it's tied up at 3 with just over 8 minutes left as Sam Huck slides it out to center, right under the stick of Mason to the offensive zone. He shoots. The low chance missed the net with Barry, who's had a terrific defensive third period, blocking the chance. Now Galanick trying to swim around Brady to get to one in the Hawk zone. It's Bogus getting there first. Takes a hit from Deputy, but played it to Huck. Out to center, it was behind Morick. Stolen. Jake Toll wings one toward the Hawk net from center. Gloved by Casey. He'll pin it to the ice. 7:49 left to go in the third. We talked quite a bit about Sam Huck in this game. He's the oldest player on the Blackhawk team and the last player added to the roster before the regular season began in a trade with the Fargo Force, and boy, does that look like an inspired trade right now.
I'm going to get a look at him on the bench too, patting his teammates on the head. He knows that good things are coming. They've been playing offense the entire night. Him, Davatella, and Ty Mason, as Ty Mason just had that 2-on-2 rush opportunity, tried to pull the trigger. A good defensive play there by Muskegon, but that line, those three, they've been buzzing all night, and you feel like if one line's going to come up big, for Waterloo at an opportune time, it's going to be them.
So Muskegon led 2-0. The Hawks came back to tie it at 2. The Lumberjacks took a 3-2 lead. Now it's 3-3 as Toll plays it across the slot. It went through the skates of Christ. And Townsend takes a big hit, but got it out to the neutral zone. Comes off the boards. Morik picks it up. He's got a goal in the game. Tries a shot from center. Stopped by Godziev. Shows the puck, but covers it up with Townsend coming up the slot. 7:34 left to go in the third.
What an important offensive zone draw, too, because we just saw Waterloo tie the game up off of an offensive zone draw. We've seen a couple goals off of face-off. Jack Christ's first goal of the night came off a D-zone draw where he beat everybody up the ice and was able to beat Carter Casey upstairs, but it just goes to show the margin for error is so slim. I mean, this time of year is the most important time of year, clearly with 7.5 minutes to go in the year, but you got to think both teams now are going to focus very hard on limiting their mistakes.
The shots favor the Blackhawks, 33-22. As the draw here is won by Stefanik. The puck put up the boards, not out. Ramos kept it in, comes off the wall to the slot, nudged away at the last moment by Stefanik. Petal got there to keep it in, takes a long try. Godziev off of his skates to glove that one above the crossbar.
Tim, I feel foolish, by the way. You asked me which position I'd rather be in, up one, sitting back, or down one, putting the pressure on, and I think I had the wrong answer because right now the momentum has shifted completely once again for the second time of this night in favor of the home team, who's been pressing, and all the adversity that's thrown their way, they push it aside and they continue to claw and fight their way back into this game, and they've done it all year, all playoffs long.
Deering kicks the draw back. It was nudged toward Compton. He kept it in. Long try, deflects. Lands in the corner on right wing. Jete keeps it alive for Deering. Looks over his shoulder as he shuffles behind the net. Stops quickly to avoid Vayu. Then knocked down by Stewart. Ramos got it back though. Ramos, as a Muskegon player, lost a stick for a moment. Ramos a shot. Stopped by Godziev. Deering fitted it in front. It hit Godziev's pad. Comes back to Petal for a drive that was blocked. And now a 2-on-1 look. Up right wing, it's Christ. Has Stefanik. Christ with a chance. It was nudged away. Came to the crease, and Casey kept it out as the net is dislodged.
Dylan Compton, known for his offense from the blue line, just makes a season-saving defensive play. Jack Christ on a 2-on-1, who has clearly been the most dangerous goal scorer for Muskegon tonight, blocks the shot. Compton is forced to play the 2-on-1. He makes a read. He slides out and makes the play to break the puck from the blade of Jack Christ, and it goes into the corner while a collision happens with Carter Casey. But what a read in a very difficult moment for Dylan Compton.
Bought enough time for Brady Petal back checking to get back in the play and make sure that Stefanik could not do anything as the puck came across.
I thought Chris was going to pull up and let that thing rip, but Compton made a great last-ditch effort.
Christ with 2, Lawrence with 1. David Klee thought he had scored. That one was washed out after a challenge by the Blackhawks, and that allowed Waterloo to come back in the second period as Deputy steals a clearing attempt. Long shot didn't get through. Hawks coming back again in the third on the goal by Ramos after Christ's second. Hawks volley it out to the neutral zone. Vayu turns and fires it up the ice. Rabkin touch pass. Deputy turns away from Morik. Back to the line, trying to shake one ahead. Redden stolen by McMorrow. 3-on-3 up the ice. Got around Deputy, trying to get back to the puck. Vayu reached and took that rolling disc away.
Really strong play by David Deputy to separate his man from the puck because McMorrow was flying.
Here's the dangerous Tynan Lawrence for Barry left wing boards. Lawrence in the corner, clockwise behind the Hawk goal. Townsend chopping at it. Rabkin got there for Toll. Back behind the Hawk net it goes, and it's Lawrence leaned on by Brady. Puck gets away. Morik steals. The Minnesota State recruit able to bounce it out to center. It rolls right back in, and it's dangerous. Vaslav Nestrasil. Goals in 3 of the 4 games during the series. Brady runs into him and separates him from the puck. Nestrasil not giving up on it. He takes it back in the left corner. Now Brady puts a shoulder into him with under 6 minutes left to go. It's picked up by Galanic, turning. Poke checked by Davatilla. He gets it back, but Davatilla on his hip. Galanic trying to escape back toward the blue line. Wings one wide of the Hawk net. Wide open ice for Townsend to pick it up. Comes out to the neutral zone for Davatilla. Juggles it to the offensive end. Dragging, stopping, waiting for some help. Davatilla turns toward the left wing corner. Knocked down by Toll. Got it to Mason, who nudged it just wide. McLaughlin clears. Was it touched? It was not. It's icing.
Davatilla pulled up and he wanted to find, I believe, Townsend, who is in the high slot there for a chance with Townsend at the end of the shift. went off for a change, so Davatilla was forced to make a different play. Had Townsend maybe stuck it out for an extra 2 seconds for a one-time opportunity, you never know what could happen, but it's smart to make the safe play and get off the ice and get fresh legs out there.
Well, and I see a veteran play there by Davatilla, who's got the puck in the offensive zone in a 3-3 game, holding on to it, allowing the Hawks time to make that change and ultimately get at least a half chance with Ty Mason in front.
Very good point. Now they get an offensive zone draw out of that whole entire play.
Game tied at 3, just over 5 minutes left in the third. Clares scampers behind his net. He's shadowed by Jete, gets rid of it, and it's Nestrasil back to the red line. Sending it down deep. The Muskegon Lumberjacks working on a change after the icing call at the previous stoppage. Compton up the rink for Ramos. He's the Black Hawk hero right now with the game tire, but he dumped it in and it sprang right back out to center. Fortunately, it had enough to get all the way back to Compton at the Hawk line. Now Ramos is offside.
Fans are getting antsy here. They've been coming back the whole night. Waterloo has not yet had a lead in this game. These fans can feel it. They want it. But also, Hunter Ramos and the entire Blackhawks team have to be careful at where they dump the puck. That was a hard rim that went all the way around. Had it taken a different bounce, Muskegon's coming the other way on an odd-man rush. So little things like where you dump the puck. Muskegon has done cross-corner, soft chip dumps all night just so they can get in on the attack and not allow Carter Casey to play the puck. Those are things that go into the pre-scout and how you prepare against your opponent.
Nothing settled yet with 4:55 left to play in regulation. The Waterloo Black Hawks and Muskegon Lumberjacks tied up at 3, tied up in the series at 2 wins apiece. It is the last night of the Clark Cup playoffs. Game 5 as Phelan almost had that one get away under pressure from the dangerous Tynan Lawrence. But the Hawks do get it out to center. A touch pass for Walker. Steered away by Veyu. Recovered at center with Phelan. Bringing it up the right glass. It comes around counterclockwise for Hawkins. 21 goals during the regular season. Missed Kasiba there with Veyu stepping in. And the Lumberjacks, Sanderson, carrying it right back out. Walker shoulder to shoulder with him. Sanderson turns, has some help coming in the form of Stefanik. It popped up over his stick. He still flipped it toward the net. Didn't get the tip from Van Blaricom. Back to Barry left point. He's had a whale of a game defensively. He plays it behind the Black Hawk net here and finds Spitznagel turning and shooting. It trickled toward the net and then through the crease and wide. Hawkins for Waterloo with just over 4 left to play in the third. Caden Hawkins fending off a check, steering out through neutral ice to the red line. Bounces it down into the right corner.
What a smart play by Caden Hawkins to use his legs to gain the red, chip it in and just get off.
That puck was not touched shy of the Blackhawk blue line by Jack Christ, and this is icing.
And you've got the top line for the Waterloo Blackhawks out there again for an offensive zone draw. Teddy Townsend, Brendan McMorrow, and Reed Morick against not too tired of a Muskegon 5 players or 5-man unit. But these are not the 3 players you want to go up against.
And we have a timeout on the ice. The Lumberjacks are taking timeout with 3:51 left to go in regulation in this 3-3 game between the Waterloo Blackhawks and the Muskegon Lumberjacks. It is Game 5 of the 2025 Clark Cup Final at Young Arena.
A smart timeout by Coach Burgess here because he recognizes who is on the ice for the other team. You want to give your guys a second to breathe, a second to prepare, come up with something in case you lose the faceoff, especially after the tying goal in this game came off of an offensive zone win for Waterloo.
Well, the Clark Cup is in the building. It's going to go home with somebody on this Tuesday night, whether that is the Muskegon Lumberjacks for the first time. They joined the USHL in 2010. The last championship on ice for Muskegon was back in 2005 when the Muskegon Fury won the United Hockey League title, or the Waterloo Blackhawks trying to keep the cup in Waterloo since it's already here in the building anyway, and trying to do that for the first time since 2004.
And Party Town USA will party till the sun comes up. If their home team can find a way to score this next goal and win this hockey game. I mean, I've only been to Waterloo these last 2 weeks for the Clark Cup final, but I gotta say the fans here love this team. I was blown away by how they were applauded even 2 hours before the game even started. Fans saw the players walking in, they're clapping, they're cheering, they've been ready to go all day long for this game and for this moment.
Cowbells and thundersticks and vocal cords all making noise as the Lumberjacks win a draw. And a home run type pass missed everybody. That was perhaps miscommunication there.
I think Finn McLaughlin maybe thought that the forwards were leaving the zone a little bit early, tries to put up the backboard so they can win a race and beat out the icing. Didn't look like a panic move, maybe looked like a drawn play that they had done on their timeout, just unable to execute.
Well, the Hawks will make the change here and put Mason, Davatilla, and Huck back out there. 3:45 to go, third period, game tied at 3. The Fargo line for Waterloo. And Stewart wins the faceoff for Muskegon. McLaughlin, and then to Stefanik. Flips it out through center. Davatilla batted it out of midair. It came down for Compton. Then Petal uses the glass and wings it the other way. McLaughlin batted it out of midair just far enough to keep it from Huck. And now Stewart rolls it down toward the left corner. Gets there first but fell down. Brady trying to dig it out from underneath him. He couldn't, but Mason did, then was poke checked. And now it's chopped Davatilla's way. Turns, didn't find Mason. Stewart the takeaway with a shot that was blocked. And Huck takes a hit but cleared it out to center. Davatilla trying to kick it ahead and got it past Stewart so that he could lift it down toward the left wing corner. 3 minutes left to go in the third period. Lawrence swoops from his blue line, wanted to turn up ice quickly. Morick hung with him. It goes rink wide to Deputy now. Back across the width of the ice to Vladivojevic, who did not play in the first 4 games of this series. Now for Deputy at the Black Hawk line. Trying to throw off the check from Phelan. Deputy, 10 goals in the playoffs, but Phelan bottles him up in the corner. Deputy got it off for a try by Rabkin. It's smothered by Casey at the post to his right.
You can feel the anxiety a little bit in the building every time that Muskegon has the puck in the offensive zone. Even a random weak shot like that from Rabkin could somehow find its way in at this point of the game, and on both sides. You know, when Waterloo has it on the other end, the fans are on the edge of their seat just probably thinking to throw it on net. You don't know what could happen. But credit to both of these teams. They've been battling all night. These guys got to be gassed. They played so much hockey all year long, all the week long, the last 2 weeks, the bus trips, and they are putting everything they have on the line right now. It's a pleasure to watch.
62 regular season games for both sides. For the Blackhawks, this is game number 77. Muskegon had a slightly shorter path into the Clark Cup final after sweeping both the Youngstown Phantoms and the Dubuque Fighting Saints, but it's still game number 75 for them. As they draw a shot to the boards, Galanic capped it in, goes behind the Blackhawk net. The rolling puck chased down by Phelan, backhands it toward the line, hit Ramos and got out to center. Bayou batted ahead to be tipped down into the right corner by Nestrasil. Check there, got through it, then fell down, helped along to Klee. Shot saved by Casey. Rebound cleared down the length of the ice by Petal, and it goes wide, so it's going to be icing unless Ramos can get there. He was hustling, but McLaughlin wins the race.
Close call there. I thought Ramos was going to catch him for a second, but right now I like both sides not being too careful, just getting the puck out of the zone. They don't care if they ice it as long as the puck just gets out of there. Nobody wants to be the player to make a mistake right now. I think that's the biggest thing, and that's what all the players on the bench, on the ice are thinking. I don't want it to be my fault that we lose this game. Let me just get this puck out of the zone, and we'll deal with what happens after.
Well, now the Waterloo Black Hawks have taken their timeout. So both teams late in the third period burning their timeouts in icing situations. Just over 2 minutes left to play. Will we see a third consecutive overtime in this series?
Feels like we're due for it, right? But the way this game has gone, it feels like you never know what's going to happen next. 1 minute, Waterloo is pressing. They have all the momentum, and then Muskegon comes down and gets a scoring chance, a goal out of nothing. It's just been like that all night long, where Muskegon, Jack Chris especially, have been so opportunistic. Any chance they have in the slot, it just might squeak through.
Well, there had been just one overtime game during the 2025 Clark Cup playoffs for all teams, all series. The Blackhawks won that overtime in Game 4 against the Sioux Falls Stampede. In fact, that was double overtime. But we've had 2 since the beginning of the Clark Cup final, Games 3 and 4, and teetering towards perhaps another in Game 5.
Just shows how evenly matched these two teams are. Both have a ton of skill, but they also play so hard. The blue line's so tough, but they both break the puck out so well. They both forecheck so well, and the top end talent on both top lines is just out of this world. The best part about this is, though, Tim, somewhere down there, there's a player and a goal and a moment that is about to be created that these kids we'll talk about for the rest of our lives, and you want to be on the good side of that story.
Clean face-off win in his own zone by Morick. Brady lifts it off the glass. McMorrow knocks it down. Now finding Morick, crossing the line, lays it off. Townsend left circle, goes across the slot, lost the handle. Rabkin takes it and whiffs on a breakout pass. Now in trouble. McMorrow takes it away, left circle. Couldn't center it initially. It came to the side of the goal and just swept away by the Lumberjacks, so the deputy can use the glass to clear it.
That was a close one. Got to be careful in the neutral zone with pucks right now and the way you manage it.
McMorrow backhands it into the offensive end. McLaughlin there first. Off the end wall to his defense mate, Bayou. Now Lawrence up the ice. The youngster dodging Deering into the Hawk zone. Backhands it. It rides the rail around the boards. Phelan deftly avoided kicking that one away from himself and gets the puck to Petal. Now for Jete. Turns into the offensive end on left wing. Played it to the end wall. Deering got tied up with Barry. Puck still along the end boards. Ramos had it, lost it to Stefanik, and it hops over Christ's stick out to center. Jete. Discretion the better part of Valley. They didn't try to force it. The Hawks dump it back in. Under a minute left to go in regulation. Will we have a go-ahead goal before then in this 3-3 game? Ty Mason back to his own zone for Morgan Brady. Had a look at Ramos, but didn't take it, and then decided to try to bank it up the wall. It's reversed back the other way. Both teams working on changes with 40 seconds left to go in regulation. Here's Mulgrave, flipping it ahead, cut off near the Muskegon blue line. Mulgrave another chance, and he'll send this one deep into the zone. It goes over the end glass, out of play. Was it deflected? Either way, the faceoff ought to be at center.
If it's on the Waterloo side of the red line, the faceoff might end up being in their own zone, which is what the officials are discussing right now. Muskegon is making their way over to the offensive zone. They think this is going to be an offensive zone draw for them, which I happen to think so as well, and I'm wrong.
Center circle faceoff.
1-1 tonight. I got the more important call right. That's what matters.
So 3-3 with 31.5 seconds left to go in the third period. Otherwise, we would go into a next goal win situation.
The fans are coming to their feet inside Young Arena, applauding what they're watching, rooting on their home team, but also recognizing how great of a hockey game this has been.
Clean face-off win, McMorrow. Now it's Mulgrave settling a rolling puck. Dumped it in. He got to the red line, so Huck can try to chase it down. McLaughlin got body position. Bayou lost it to Davatilla, who centered, but no one there. Good keep in by Mulgrave, left point. 15 seconds left. Huck trying to dodge a check and come off the wall. He couldn't, but McMorrow now scoots behind the Muskegon net. McMorrow wraparound try. Save made by Gadziev. Rebound taken back behind the net by Nestrasil. Half dozen seconds left. Nestrasil given room. Slings it up the ice too far for Galanic, and it slides down. Even if it's icing, the clock shows zeros, and we look like we are headed to overtime for a third consecutive game between these two teams.
You can't ask for much more as a hockey fan, right? Next goal wins the championship game. Everything you could dream of when you show up to training camp in September. There's a hero down there somewhere.
Again, I couldn't tell you whether the whistle sounded before or after the clock ran out. It was going to be icing, but the officials are going to send everybody to the dressing room, and we will have a intermission to look ahead towards the Black Hawks and Muskegon Lumberjacks finishing up this 2025 Clark Cup final with a golden goal one way or the other.
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. This game has been so much fun to watch. Waterloo seems to be in control right now, but even in Game 4, Tim, it was Muskegon who came back with 2 late goals to carry momentum into overtime, but it was the road team, Waterloo Black Hawks, that scored off a Chase Jete shot from essentially the blue line, which sent us into this pivotal winner-take-all Game 5.
Well, the Waterloo Black Hawks have never led in this game, but on home ice, they have a chance to win it with overtime coming up. The Waterloo Black Hawks and Muskegon Lumberjacks are tied up at 3. You're watching coverage of the 2025 Clark Cup final at Young Arena in Waterloo. many Tuesday nights in Waterloo like this one. Game 5 of the United States Hockey League Clark Cup Final, and the next goal wins not just the game, but this year's title. With Johnny Lazarus, Daily Face-Off host, I'm Tim Harwood, and we've been building towards this excitement with a game that has twice been in Muskegon's favor, and twice they've not been able to hold the lead.
It's just wild to think that this team has not had the lead just yet, Tim. Waterloo has had to claw their way back from a 2-goal deficit, then down 1 in the third period. I mean, this game has been unbelievable, back and forth. Goaltenders making big save after big save. And here you get a look at some of the action from the third period. Jack Chris was the goal scorer for Muskegon. He gets a juicy rebound off a shot from Chase Stefanik. Don't know how he snuck it in the short side for his second goal of the night. And you see him jacked up there with the celly and taunting the home crowd a little bit. But Waterloo had to find a way to get an answer, and Brady Peddle has made a ton of great plays in this game. And it was Chase Jete making the quick shoulder check, cross-ice pass to Hunter Ramos, who put it right in the back of the net to tie things at 3, which almost blew the roof off of Young Arena. And now we're here in a 3-3 game, getting ready for overtime.
But we wouldn't be here if not for a disallowed Muskegon goal in period 2. At the time, it looked like the Lumberjacks were going to be up 3-1, but it just turned out that that was a disallowed goal after a challenge and review.
David Klee, the captain of the Lumberjacks, got a mini breakaway, tried to squeak it through the 5-hole of Carter Casey. It didn't go in initially. Then he makes contact with the right shoulder of Carter Casey as he goes through the crease, which then allowed the puck to go into the net after the contact was made. Coach Smaby challenged it courageously, and the challenge actually was successful, which turned a 3-1 possible score into what turned into a 2-2 game, and that changed the entire course of this game tonight.
We're at that point in the season where those little twists and turns make all the difference. There was no coach's challenge in the USHL prior to this season. We talked about Waterloo's win against Muskegon back on April the 6th, near the end of the regular season. If Muskegon wins that game, this game is at Trinity Health Arena instead of at a raucous Young Arena in Waterloo. So many little things that go into getting us to this moment, with the next goal leading to a Clark Cup championship.
And I actually see a Muskegon Lumberjacks flag. Fans have traveled from Muskegon. Fans have been eager all day outside the arena. When you went for breakfast, you saw Waterloo Black Hawks jerseys out in town ready for tonight's game. Everyone's been waiting, and now they get what we call free hockey, even though it's going to be stressful hockey.
Well, almost all of the seats for this game were sold within just a couple of hours of tickets going on sale late Saturday night. The standing room tickets were gone not that long afterwards, and the fans have gotten their money's worth so far. 3-3 and overtime for the third consecutive game in this Clark Cup final between the Black Hawks and the Lumberjacks. Klee and Deering for the faceoff. Klee pulls it back. Vayu near his blue line, slings it ahead. Nestrasil gains the zone, trying to cut toward the net, flipped it in front. Deering intercepts it, gives it to Jete, and the Hawks look to come out 3-on-3. Flipped up ice, and Vayu knocked it down. McLaughlin gets it back. Then for Nestrasil, hopped over the blade of his stick. Jete turns it the other way for Ramos, crossing the line. Ramos fires wide. Galanik for Muskegon clears it. This one could go for icing, and it will.
I love that play from Hunter Ramos. Cut across the middle and shoot it against the grain, especially early in overtime. You want to test both goaltenders as early and as often as you can. And we've seen both goalies as good as they've been tonight. They've given up some fluky ones, so why not just try to throw it on net as much as you can?
In Game 4, Chase Jete had the winner for the Blackhawks at 1:32 of overtime. In Game 3, it was at 8:22 of the second overtime when the Muskegon Lumberjacks got the winning score from Ivan Rabkin. Lumberjacks control after the icing call and get it to center. Nestrasil got enough of it at the red line to send it deep with no chance for icing. Here's Teddy Mulgrave for Waterloo coming off the boards and navigating out through the neutral zone. The big defenseman crosses the line for Morick, the Blackhawk captain, shooting right into the glove of Godziev.
Couple of early chances for Waterloo coming up the ice together with speed, with possession over that blue line. The Lumberjacks a little too loose in their gaps, allowing Waterloo to enter the zone with plenty of time to make a play. That's something they're going to have to tighten up here as the overtime progresses, because this is a chance for the captain, Reed Moore, to walk right in and pick his spot from the top of the circles.
Well, what do your senses tell you, Johnny? Is this a quick overtime like Game 4, or is this a marathon like Game 3?
Something tells me that Muskegon is going to have to hold on for dear life in this first overtime. I think Waterloo is going to put all the pressure they have on the Lumberjacks.
Petal shoots, and the low chance missed the net. And Petal again has had a hand in all three Black Hawk goals, up to 10 points in the playoffs. McMorrow bats one toward the net. It goes wide and behind. By the way, Petal with 10 points in the postseason after 10 points in the entirety of the regular season. So a very strong finish to his first USHL campaign. Here's Deputy up the ice for the Lumberjacks. Crossing the line to the right circle. Shoots. Casey the save. Rebound up the slot. It pinballs toward the corner. Lawrence gets it back. Banking it out toward the line for Rabkin. Turning and shooting. Casey the save. Now it's Deputy for Muskegon. Right boards. Turns back toward the line. Petal wraps him up. It's clogged up along the wall at Casey's left. Dug out by McMorrow. Here's Morick crisscrossing out to center with Hawkins. Morick now gains the zone on his backhand. Goes into the corner, trying to drop it back. Didn't have much on it. Davatilla got there to the end boards. Hawkins was being tied up by Toll. Play allowed to continue. Not going to probably see a penalty at this stage of the game unless it takes away a clear scoring chance. Mulgrave back in on left wing. Almost 2 minutes into overtime. Bodied by Radovojevic. Comes right back to them. And now Radovojevic kicks it free. Stefanik for Muskegon. Hands it off to Rabkin, back to Stefanik. Gains the line on left wing with a wrist shot. Casey gloves it, holding on just past the 2-minute mark in the overtime period.
Every shot, you just get a little bit nervous no matter which team you're rooting for. The goalies have so much pressure on them right now. This is an incredible moment for these young kids just to get this kind of experience. I mean, there's 16-year-olds out there. They're literal kids playing in this game, and it's been so awesome to watch them truly embrace this incredible moment. But you got to credit Carter Casey and Chika Gadziev for how strong they've been all night tonight.
They have both been terrific during these playoffs. When you look at their aggregate body of work, Gadziev with a save percentage in the series at 92, but better than that during the postseason as a whole as the Hawks send one up and out of play. And Casey has played more minutes in this USHL postseason than any goaltender since the USHL adopted Tier 1 standards more than 2 decades ago, back before the 2002-2003 season.
He's almost like a Jordan Binnington story, right? When he went on the run with the St. Louis Blues, almost like Binnington came out of nowhere and helped carry with that swagger and confidence that he portrays the Blues to a Stanley Cup championship. It's very similar, I feel like, to the story of Carter Casey.
Davatilla to take the face-off in his own zone against the Lumberjacks plea. A little bit of difficulty on the positioning. And the draw pulled back left point. Shot by McLaughlin. It was blocked. He scored 2 in the opener of the series. Huck has the puck for Waterloo. Up left wing, and he'll bounce it off the end boards. Picked up by Vayu. Played clockwise around, not out. Brady kept it in on his outstep. And fed it down toward the end wall. Huck trying to get back to it, but chopped away. And Klee feeds one out to neutralize Stefanik. Got to the red line and dumped it in. Lumberjacks change. Not quite 3 minutes into overtime. Brady uses the window to clear it. Got off by Clares. Up ice, it's Lawrence to the offensive end. Tynan Lawrence shooting. And that one was blocked. Ended up bouncing wide of the Hawk net. Here's Chase Chate, the overtime hero in Game 4. Chate on left wing, gets it to Ramos, got into the zone. Hunter Ramos, a backhanded try off of Gadziev's face mask, and it ricochets away.
What a move.
Nestrasil lost it at the line. Here's Ramos one more time. 2-on-3 Ramos, bottom of the circle, fires, aiming for the short side top corner, missed the net. It hits the end glass and ricochets back out to center. Now Mulgrave hoisted into the offensive end. Deering pursuing. Toll got there first. Jake Toll out to neutralize for Galanic. Knocked away by Kasiba. Galanic gets it back, flies it to the end boards. Mulgrave, a lot of ice time here in overtime. Got the puck to Deering. Moves it from behind the net to Kasiba. Did not play in the first handful of postseason games. He did not play at all in the Tri-City, nor in the Sioux Falls series, but has played every postseason game since. Now it's Compton for Waterloo. To Hawkins, left of the net. Slung it out to center. It was behind Deering, but he finds it off the wall. Overskated it for a moment, trying to keep it away from Klee, and did, so that Mulgrave could dump it in, and Kosiba, who I was mentioning a moment before, pursues. Veo scoops it up the wall. Walker on a change, got a piece of it. Would have been a hand pass had it been touched by Kosiba. Lawrence comes up the ice the other way, trying to dodge Petal. Fed it down toward the end boards. Lawrence got back to it. Swept off of his stick by Walker. Nudged up the ice. Walker couldn't get it out. It's David Deputy. Losing control of it along the boards. And clear to the line. Now out long. Try deflected save. Casey. Rebound. Wraparound try. Casey the save at the post to his left. On the wraparound by Rabkin. Hawks clear.
A great chance for Ivan Rabkin to be the overtime hero for the second time in this series, using that lengthy reach.
Rabkin knocks down Petal. Deputy across the slot. In front stop attempt. Save. Casey. He kept it out. And now grappling around the edge of the crease and behind.
Ivan Rabkin with the wraparound chance. Then he throws a huge hit along the near side wall to get the puck back to David Deputy, who makes a great move to his backhand and then protects the puck well. Here's another look at that wraparound chance. So close. Casey gets his left foot against the post at the last second to keep that puck out and to keep their season alive. Oh my God. Game of inches. I'm sweating up here.
Almost 5 minutes into overtime. Waterloo and Muskegon tied up at 3. 36 shots for the Blackhawks to 30 for the Lumberjacks. Reed Morick and Drew Stewart would have expected to have played a lot of games against each other this season. Stewart started the year with the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders. Hawks and Rough Riders played 8 times. Waterloo and Muskegon just twice during the regular year. Stewart was traded early on and has been a big part of this Muskegon team. As the Hawks get control, McMorrow feeds it out through neutral ice. Here's Nick Bogus jumping into the rush, shooting. Gadziev the save. Off of him to the boards at his left. Townsend could not hang on to it there. Brady backpedaling, decides to dump it back in after making a safe play. It's Bauer Berry looking at his options and trying to direct a little traffic as the Lumberjacks are in the midst of a change. Now Berry starts ahead. Fed one to Clares. A shot from center is stopped by Casey. Dropped back to the ice for Phelan. Snaps it around the glass. It came to Huck. It hopped over his stick, but it did work as a clear. Vayu for Klee crossing the line. Looking for a shooting lane. Now David Klee fires. Blocker saved by Casey. Rebound. Goes behind the Blackhawk net. Galanic was at the front of the goal. Wanted to pass and didn't get it. Now Mason spins it out to neutral ice. Davatilla comes to the Muskegon line. Had to turn though with Huck in an offside position. He banks it into the zone. And the Hawks will work on a change as the Lumberjacks. Christ with 2 goals in the game. Drop pass here. Gets it back in front. Poke check by Casey. Spins it toward the net. Jack Christ has scored. It's a hat trick to win the Clark Cup in overtime. Christ made it 2-0, 3-2, and now 4-3 at 6:01 of overtime. And after just 2 goals in the postseason up until now, Jack Christ delivers a magical performance in Game 5 of the Clark Cup Final.
What a story, and what an individual effort by Jack Christ to stay with it. He loses the puck at the top of the crease, doesn't give up on it, finds it again and just throws it through the 5-hole of Carter Casey, and then does the little selfie stick celly all the way down the ice to the far side of the net, as the Waterloo Black Hawks fans are now showing their appreciation for how hard their team fought in this game. They never had a lead. They came back from down 2-0. They came back from down 3-2 to force this overtime, but all the credit in the world goes to this Muskegon Lumberjacks group. And look how happy these kids are. Look at the smiles on all their faces, the relief that they were able to come into this building, a difficult building to win in, and take 2 of the 3 games they played here in this series.
Well, the Muskegon Lumberjacks with their first Clark Cup. They had a close call in 2015, 10 years ago. They got to the final. They lost in a 3-game sweep against the Sioux Falls Stampede. It was a year where teams came from outside the top echelon of USHL clubs to reach the final, much like this year, where the Blackhawks, the 3rd seed in the West, and the Lumberjacks, the 4th seed in the East, get together in the final.
It started with a stretch pass in the neutral zone, but a little drop pass from Christ, a give and go with, I believe, was Stefanik who made the play to get it back to Christ at the goal line, and then he made a strong power move across the crease. And look at this selfie stick, Selly. He knew exactly what he was doing. That's a kid who probably called his shot in the locker room and said, I'm getting this one. I'm getting the hat trick in overtime to win us a Clark Cup championship.
Well, you give Carter Casey credit. He made the poke check, but Chris got the puck back.
The extra effort.
So the Muskegon Lumberjacks down the Waterloo Black Hawks 4-3. The Lumberjacks, along with members of their entire organization, celebrate now. And the Blackhawks await the handshake as the Clark Cup is about to be brought out onto the ice in just a matter of moments. We'll get some on-ice perspective coming up, as we also will get the presentation of the Cup on the way. Game 5 of the 2025 Clark Cup Final goes to the Muskegon Lumberjacks at 6:01 of overtime. More to come. This is coverage of the Clark Cup Final from Waterloo and Young Arena. After the celebration, the Waterloo Black Hawks and Muskegon Lumberjacks make their way to the handshake line. It's the Muskegon Lumberjacks who are doing the celebrating, and the Waterloo Black Hawks will congratulate the 2025 Clark Cup champions, as the tradition that has become part of hockey at every level is observed, and the two teams recognize the effort from their opponents. Muskegon 4, Waterloo 3. They win the series 3-2. Two of the 3 Muskegon wins coming at Young Arena. It was the Blackhawks in game 1, 8-5. A game that was an outlier ultimately in the series. Much of the rest of the way, lower scoring and hard fought. Muskegon bounced back the next night. They won game 2 by a 4-1 score. Game 3, game 4, and game 5 all settled in overtime at Trinity Health Arena in Muskegon. The Lumberjacks won game number 3, 2-1. That one went to double overtime. The Blackhawks staved off elimination in game 4, overcoming a Muskegon rally after the Hawks had led 2-0. The Lumberjacks got back tied up at 2, and ultimately Waterloo won game 4. But game 5 in overtime, the Blackhawks did not lead. They came back from a couple of different deficits, but could not break the tie in the third period or overtime, and a hat trick goal from Jack Christ to win the Clark Cup. It was 2-0 Muskegon at the end of one period. The Lumberjacks with goals from Tynan Lawrence and from Christ. Lawrence will finish as the top point producer during this postseason. 18 points for him with that goal at 3:53 of the first. Christ got his first at 14:03. The Blackhawks responded in the second with goals from Brendan McMorrow and Reed Morick. McMorrow at 4:03, Morick at 16:20, and wedged in between a goal for David Klee. That was a good goal on the ice. The officials discussed it. They were going to step away from that one as a good goal, but the Blackhawks challenged it, and goaltender interference was deemed to have led to the goal for David Klee, so that was washed out, and the game did ultimately go to the intermission, tied at 2. Muskegon went back ahead, breaking the 2-2 tie with Christ's second of the game at 1:54 of the third period, lifting a shot under the crossbar from the edge of the crease. But Waterloo had one more, answering at 11:30 of the third. Hunter Ramos putting a shot in from the left circle and tying it up at 3, ultimately forcing overtime. 6 minutes and 1 second of extra hockey before Jack Christ delivers the Muskegon Lumberjacks' first USHL title. The win to Shika Gadziev. Gadziev with a bounce-back series after he was lifted halfway through game number 1. He played the rest of the way from game 2 onward and picked up all 3 Lumberjack victories in the series, his 8th win of this postseason. And the loss to Carter Casey, who in this playoff year became just the 2nd Waterloo Black Hawk to win 10 postseason games in 1 playoff year, joining Stephon Williams. But like Stephon Williams back in 2012, that was 1 win short of what the Black Hawks needed. The Hawks needed 11 wins, starting with a first-round series where they got past the Tri-City Storm, advanced past the Sioux Falls Stampede and Lincoln Stars, but fall in Game 5 of the final. Meanwhile, it was Muskegon pushed to the brink of elimination early. They were the only first-round team to advance, but needing a Game 3 to do it. Pushed to a Game 3 by the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders, but then flying past the top 2 seeds in the Eastern Conference. Muskegon eliminating the Eastern Conference regular season champion Youngstown Phantoms, winning 2 on the road, and then finishing the series at home, winning 2 on the road in the next round against the Dubuque Fighting Saints, and then finishing the series at home. Well, they only got 1 in the first weekend of this Clark Cup final at Young Arena, but they ultimately do get 2 on the road in Waterloo to win the 2025 Clark Cup. The handshake line has been completed. The Black Hawks heading off the ice after saluting the fans. The Lumberjacks embracing. And in just a moment, we'll go to ice level for the presentation of the Clark Cup at the end of the 2025 season. The Waterloo Black Hawks and Muskegon Lumberjacks playing until the very last possible day, going to a full 5 games. And the Hawks coming up a little bit short against a Lumberjack team that had a lot of good things going throughout this postseason. The Hawks pushed them not only to a 5th game, but into overtime. And let's go now to the Commissioner of the United States Hockey League, Glenn Hefferin.
To the fans of the Waterloo Black Hawks and the entire organization on an incredible season. Congratulations, Waterloo. Tremendous year. I'd like to express some gratitude to the ownership group of the Waterloo Black Hawks, Eric Peterson, Bob Peterson, and Mike Peterson, and to Joe Green, team president, on an unbelievable series and season. Well done, Waterloo Black Hawks. Before we begin with the presentation, we do have some thank yous to give out. First and foremost, to our amazing fans and sponsors here in Waterloo and back in Muskegon and across the league. You are the backbone that make this work and support our players and teams throughout the year, and we are extremely grateful at the USHL. The backbone of any game is its production staff and its off-ice crew. Give a big hand to all of our off-ice officials. I'd like to also recognize our game officials who don't always get the appreciation, but give our game officials a big round of applause, please. And last but not least, I want to extend my thanks to our entire USHL staff who put so much work in throughout the year. My gratitude to them. Please give the USHL staff a round of applause. And now to the Muskegon Lumberjacks on a remarkable season. Congratulations to Muskegon owner Peter Herms, to business team president Andrea Rose, Jimmy McGroarty, Steve Lowe, and Parker Burgess. At this time, we will present the MVP award, which is presented to the player for their entire performance throughout the playoff run. And at this time, we are presenting the USHL playoff MVP to Tynan Lawrence. Tynan.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, it was nice of him to come over, though.
Congratulations, Tynan. And now we will have the presentation of the Clark Cup.
Hockey fans, with tonight's result, the Muskegon Lumberjacks are your 2025 USHL Clark Cup champions. The Clark
Once
Cup
again, big round of applause for all of our teams this season on a remarkable year and a great playoff run. At this time, I'd like Captain David Klee to step forward to accept the Clark Cup.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Congratulations.
He lifts the Clark Cup first. At the rink where he started his United States Hockey League career, David Klee gets the chance to celebrate as the Muskegon Lumberjacks captain in his third season in the United States Hockey League, and an outcome that is particularly special for a player who followed his older brothers to the United States Hockey League, and the Lumberjacks will get the opportunity to celebrate with the cup individually after Klee got the chance to lift it first. David Deputy and a succession of Lumberjacks will get the chance for their moment with the cup after Game 5. In just a few moments, we'll go down to ice level, and Johnny Lazarus will have the chance to talk with some of the Lumberjacks, including, we anticipate, head coach Parker Burgess, as well as some of the other principal figures, starting with Tynan Lawrence as he makes his way over toward the red carpet and is about to talk with Johnny Lazarus right now. And we will go down to Johnny as soon as everything is connected.
Tynan Lawrence, 16 years old, now a Clark Cup champion. First of all, what's going through your mind right now?
It's just an awesome feeling. I'm so happy for this group of guys. You know, we battled all year long, and there's no better way to end it than on top.
Scored the first goal in tonight's game. I got to ask you, when you imagine yourself out there tonight before the game started, was it scoring a goal, blocking a shot, having an assist, making a play? What was it?
Just doing what I have to do to win. It doesn't really matter. Score a goal, block a shot, anything, just to help the team out and end up on top.
You guys weathered a storm the entire night from the second period through the third into overtime. What was the conversation like in the locker room going into overtime?
Keep it going. You know, we're playing well. It's a tied game. Anything can happen. Just keep shooting. Something's going to happen.
What's the celebration going to be like tonight?
We're going to go back and have some fun.
Congrats, buddy.
Thank
you. MVP of the United States Hockey League. He finished with 18 points in this postseason, including his 8th goal of the playoffs in this game. Looks like Parker Burgess, the head coach of the Lumberjacks, is going to have the chance to join Johnny Lazarus now.
Burgess now the head coach of the champion Muskegon Lumberjacks. First of all, what are you feeling right now?
Pretty happy. You know, all the credit in the to Waterloo, their coaching staff, their players, their fans, everything they brought. But our guys were able to stick with it. It was a great series. All these people, man, it's for them, and couldn't be more happy.
This building was loud as heck going into that third period, where
Waterloo came back from down 2-0 to tie the game at 2. What was the message to your group going into the third after weathering that storm in the second period?
They won a period, we won a period. Whoever wins the third's going to win it, and it was very fitting. It went into overtime. We tied the third, and whoever got that last shot, we were able to do it, and we're champions, man.
All right, I'll let you go on that. I'll let you go. Congratulations, Coach.
Parker Burgess, the head coach of the Muskegon Lumberjacks, and Johnny Lazarus now is going to have a chance to talk with Jack Christ.
To win the Clark Cup championship, I'm going to ask you about your celly first. Was that planned the whole way? Did you call your shot in between periods?
Yeah, it was. I had a joke going with one of my coaches the whole year long. I was selfie sticking in practice and stuff, and I decided to pull it out for the win.
I can't wait to see that picture after, but going into overtime, you had 2 goals throughout the entire playoffs going into this game. You scored 3 tonight, but the swagger has been there the whole way. So what is the confidence? How do you find it? How do you channel it?
Yeah, I mean, got to give credit to my line mates. They got me the puck, and puck just happened to go in, and I was kind of feeling myself, and I kept shooting, and it went in.
So your first goal, I want to ask you about it. You shoot the puck in stride, you pick the top far corner. Is that something that you work on every day in practice?
Something I tried to. I don't know if I executed as much as I did there, but yeah, I mean, our game plan going in was just to fire the puck on net, and luckily it went in.
And the last thing I'll ask you, what was it like playing in front of this incredible crowd tonight and end up walking out of here as champions?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, I can barely even hear right now. My ears are shot. This place is unreal. It just feels so good to finally win one.
Thanks, Jack. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. It's a lot of fun.
Christ, 2 goals prior to tonight in the playoffs, a total of 6 points, but a hat trick including the overtime game winner in game number 5 of the Clark Cup final. Christ getting the chance to celebrate with the Muskegon Lumberjacks at Young Arena as Muskegon wins the series, winning games 2, 3, and 5 in the best of 5 2025 Clark Cup final. So we've heard from several of the principals. Thanks so much for being with us for coverage of this Clark Cup final game as the 2025 United States Hockey League season comes to an end. For Johnny Lazarus and our entire production team in Waterloo, I'm Tim Harwood. In overtime, the Muskegon Lumberjacks down the Waterloo Black Hawks 4-3. They win the Clark Cup final 3-2. And the 2025 playoffs have come to an end. Thanks for being with us. This has been a presentation of the United States Hockey League.